I only checked my wife's phone out of boredom. I never expected to find a contact's name Daddy. Utterly baffled, I tapped in and got a shock. My wife, always gentle and gracious in real life, was shockingly uninhibited on her phone. I got up and sat before the study computer. Calm-faced, I stared at the video on the phone. To be precise, I was staring at the wedding ring on the woman's hand. If I was not mistaken, that wedding ring belonged to my wife, Ruyan. When we woke up this morning, she had wrapped that very hand around me and said, "Good morning, husband." Yet now, the woman in the video was bracing that same hand against a table, enduring another man's roughness. I do not know why, but in that instant, countless images flashed through my mind. Every one of them was Ruyan's face. There was the day she confessed, when she said, "I like you," and her face slowly flushed bright red. There was the day we married, when she looked at me and said, "Yuan, we will be together for the rest of our lives." Her face had been solemn and sincere. Ruyan had loved me like that. How could she possibly cheat on me? I could not believe it. But the video kept playing, clear and undeniable, forcing me to believe, as if he had known I would refuse to accept it. Attached to the video was the man's contact information, along with a blatantly provocative sign-off. "Feel free to ask me." I turned off the computer. Then I sat there, hollow, for a long time. So long that when Ruyan opened the study door, I realized the sunset had already tilted toward the hills. "What's wrong?" Ruyan walked in. Her hand naturally moved toward my shoulder. Those images tore through my mind with devastating force. I dodged her touch as if I had been shocked. Ruyan froze. I met her startled gaze. Pressing my lips together, I said, I do not feel well. Where does it hurt? Is your stomach acting up again? I will take you to the hospital." I lifted my head and saw Ruyan's face full of worry. Her concern did not look fake. Suddenly, I remembered the first time I met Ruyan. That day, my gastritis flared up. I had just arrived as a freshman, and I did not know anyone. All I could do was sit by the road, clutching my stomach. Then Ruyan, still my senior back then, walked up to me. "Hey, classmate, what happened? Why do you look so pale? Are you sick? Let me take you to the hospital." Even now, I still remember Ruyan saying those words, and the look and tone she had. It was exactly like now. So anxious, and so painfully captivating. If that man had never appeared, I might even have believed we were still the same as when we were in love. As for what happened in bed, I would have thought work was simply too demanding, leaving her with no energy. I turned my head to avoid her touch, but my eyes stayed locked on her. I said, "Just now, our daughter told me she wants a little brother or sister." Ruyan paused for a moment, then she smiled. "Children go through passing phases. Yuan, did you actually take that seriously?" I nodded. "Mom said the same thing, did she not? Manman is for now. It might be good for her to have a little brother or sister. Besides, the two of us have not." "Yuan." Ruyan frowned slightly. "Is this really about giving her company? Or do you want a son to carry on the family line?" If this had been before, I would have explained myself again and again. But today, I only asked softly, "What do you think?" Ruyan was clearly caught off guard. She froze for a second, and her tone softened. "I'm sorry, husband. Maybe too much has piled up these past few days." My tone was not good. As she spoke, she wrapped her arms around my waist and said coyly, "I know you are wonderful to Manman. I have always known that. Everyone envies me. They say I have such a devoted, responsible husband. But husband, now really is not the time. The company is preparing to go public. If I get pregnant, it will definitely affect things." Usually, whenever Ruyan acted sweet, my heart would soften. But today, the hands around my waist felt covered in thorns. They pricked me until my whole body felt wrong. I pulled her away. My voice was cold and flat. I know. That night, Ruyan fell asleep in my arms, utterly dependent. When I heard her breathing slowly even out, I quietly slipped my arm free and sat up. I picked up the phone from the bedside. Thanks to Ruyan's hopeless romantic persona, her password had never changed. I unlocked it with ease. I opened WeChat and searched the ID the man had given me from memory. Soon, a contact popped up with the note, "Daddy." On WeChat, I tapped in. At a glance, I saw the latest messages. It was a photo Ruyan had sent to the man. Her fair neck was covered in dense red marks. What if my co-workers see them? President Wang. Wear a turtleneck. Ruyan. A turtleneck will not cover them. There are marks behind my ear too. This is all your fault. You were too rough yesterday. President Wang. You did not say that when we were at it yesterday. My vision went dark. Waves of cold rose from my chest. If I remembered correctly, at that time, she had been eating dinner at home. How could she sit there with me and our daughter and still send messages like that? I collapsed back against the headboard. I turned to look at Liu Ryan's sleeping face beside me. I almost lost control. I wanted to smash the phone into her face and curse her out. But, in the end, I held myself back. My family background was not good. I got into Jiang University only because I fought for it myself. So I studied like my life depended on it, and entered competitions. Because I knew I had no powerful connections to open doors for me. Only solid ability could earn me a place at Land City's largest company, an offer from Shangxi. Later, I got it just as I had hoped. Then, to everyone's astonishment, I turned it down. All because Liu Ryan begged me. She begged me to save her company, already on the verge of collapse. A tiny business nearly bankrupt. My friends all said I was foolish, sacrificing years of hard work for one woman. But back then, I did not think I was foolish. I admired Liu Ryan so deeply, and I trusted her just as deeply. I was certain Liu Ryan would succeed. Fortunately, I had not been wrong. After I joined, Liu Ryan's small company slowly began to improve. Then Liu Ryan changed the company's name to Guyu. Because of that, I teased Liu Ryan, saying she had chosen such a petty, lovesick name. But Liu Ryan said, Guyu, Guyu, as the name implies. It means Liu Ryan cherishes Yuan. Later, Guyu and Shangxi reached a long-term partnership. It was also on that day that Liu Ryan ignored every stare on the street, threw her arms around Zhang Yuan, and shouted, Yuan, hurry up and say you want to marry me. I will say yes. I was truly happy that day. But happiness like that had an expiration date. Just like Liu Ryan's sincerity. I took screenshots of every chat between Liu Ryan and that man. Then I sent them all to my own phone through the chat. After that, I deleted the records. Once all of that was done, I lay back down, my whole body stiff. The next day, when I woke up, Liu Ryan was downstairs eating with our daughter, Jiang Man. When she saw me come down, Jiang Man immediately threw herself into my arms. Daddy, Mammon thought Annie Lee would have to take me to kindergarten today. I froze for a moment, then I stroked her head. Why would Mammon say that? Jiang Man's little mouth puckered into a pout. Because Mommy said there was thunder last night. Daddy, you must not have slept well. She told me not to bother you. Daddy, tell me, was Mammon very good? Was I very obedient? Mammon did not come bother Daddy. Zhang Yuan's chest tightened. Back when Liu Ryan was pregnant, the pregnancy was unstable. So she stayed home to protect the pregnancy. Later, after giving birth and breastfeeding, her figure had changed drastically. Because of that, she developed postpartum depression. All day long, she suspected me of cheating. I explained myself 1,000 times over, but she only said, I do not have a job. I am not pretty anymore. Even if you are not cheating now, you will someday. At the time, Jiang Man had already been weaned, considering she was still so young, and needed both parents with her. And with the Liu parents constantly urging me, I resolutely resigned as general manager of Guyu. I became a stay-at-home husband. Because of that, even with a nanny helping, many of Mammon's affairs, including taking her to and from kindergarten, were handled by me alone. Every morning, John Man would run into the master bedroom, pestering me to dress her, to style her hair like a pretty princess, and to give her hugs and kisses. I never found it hard or tiring. I never complained, even though sometimes I wanted to stay in bed a little longer. But Liu Ryan noticed. On the mornings after I had tossed and turned all night, she would quietly take over all of Mammon's care. In the silence, Nanny Lee brought out a plate of breakfast, 2 slices of toasted bread, and a golden brown fried egg. Liu Ryan had made it. Ever since we married, Liu Ryan had always taken care of my breakfast. I badly wanted to ask her, you clearly hate cooking more than anything, yet something you hate this much, you could do patiently, and keep doing for so long. So, why could you not do the same for our love? My gaze swept past it. At last, it settled on the woman. Liu Ryan's expression was gentle. The way she looked at me was full of attachment. I thought of last night's chat records. I forced out a smile. Are you free today? Liu Ryan did not answer. She only asked, what is it? I said, the seasons are changing, aren't they? I wanted you to come with me to buy some clothes for our parents. Liu Ryan said softly, Another day. I am meeting President Wang today to discuss a new project. A sudden pain struck my heart, but I still raised a smile and asked, President Wang? Which President Wang? At my words, Liu Ryan's face stiffened, but only for an instant. Then she smiled. With a perfectly composed expression, she said, President Wang from Yinghai Technology. We even had dinner with him before. Have you forgotten? After saying that, she lifted her hand and checked the watch on her wrist. It is getting late. I need to hurry to the office. President Wang is still waiting for me. Then she picked up the handbag beside her, walked over to me, and kissed the corner of my mouth. The touch was warm, yet it felt like a dull knife dragging across my heart. I suddenly grabbed Liu Ryan. Word by word, I said, Are you really not coming with me today? Liu Ryan froze, but she quickly smiled again. Husband, today really will not work. President Wang's matter is very important. I will go with you next time. I silently stared at the woman's back. Liu Ryan, for us, there is no next time. After taking Jiang Man to kindergarten, I used my friend Gu Chen's connections and quickly arranged to meet a lawyer because it was a last-minute appointment. The lawyer messaged that she might arrive a little late. I was not in a hurry. I placed my phone face down on the cafe table. Then, I turned to look out the window. More than 10 years had passed. The view outside had barely changed. Back then, Liu Ryan always liked to wait under the osmanthus tree by the street for me to get off work. In winter, we would eat a steaming bowl of wontons together. In summer, we would buy iced drinks from the milk tea shop next door. I sank into those memories. I do not know how long it had been. Then a light, clear voice sounded. Sorry. Thank you for waiting. Surprised, I turned my head. Sure enough, I saw a familiar face. Senior Zhu. Why is it you? The person who came was Zhu Wannian. She had attended the same university as me. She was 1 year ahead of me, so calling her senior was only natural. Across from me, Zhu Wannian sat down. She winked mischievously. Have you forgotten? I studied law in university. I smiled and said, I have not forgotten. I am just surprised Gu Chen recommended you to me. He did not even tell me beforehand. Do not blame him. I told him not to say anything. Seeing the surprised look from the woman across from me, a teasing smile touched my face. I was afraid you might avoid the conflict of interest. Then I would lose a client. I would not. You would not. But what about Liu Ryan? The smile at the corner of my mouth froze. Neither would she. I met the surprise in her eyes. I came to you this time to ask about divorce. People are forgetful creatures. Looking back, even the sharpest pain can be wiped clean from memory. But there was one thing Zhu Wannian remembered with perfect clarity. When it came to pursuing Zhang Yuan, she had lost to Liu Ryan. In truth, Zhu Wannian was a proud person. It came from her family and from who she was. Everything had always been smooth sailing for her. She had never suffered a real setback. So from the moment she first met Zhang Yuan to the moment she decided to pursue him, Zhu Wannian had been full of confidence. She thought she had it all planned out, like someone watching the game unfold from the height of a god. But then Liu Ryan appeared out of nowhere. She not only staked out Zhang Yuan's classes, she even followed Zhang Yuan to work at the print shop where he worked more than once. Zhu Wannian heard Zhang Yuan say impatiently, You are a perfectly good girl. You are not short on money. Why come here to work? One day, she went to the print shop to copy some documents. A man with a knife came into the shop. The blade was sharpened. It gleamed coldly. It cut through the air with a terrifying hiss. Menacing and vicious looking, he shouted that it was a robbery. Everyone in the shop was terrified. Zhu Wannian was no exception. She stood there too frightened to move. Only Liu Ryan stepped in front of Zhang Yuan at once, shielding him behind her. That action drew the robber's attention. He strode toward her. I pulled Liu Ryan into my arms. My voice trembled, yet it was firm. I will give you money. Do not hurt her. Otherwise, I will fight you with my life. After that, Zhu Wannian withdrew from Zhang Yuan's world. She understood. It was not because she was less capable. She had lost a sincerity. After all, in that instant, all she had thought of was running away. Not saving Zhang Yuan. A Liu Ryan like that. A couple like them. How had they come to this? So, even after explaining the next steps to Zhang Yuan, Zhu Wannian could not help saying one more thing. Have you really made up your mind? Regret was clear in her voice. I turned my head directly. After a long moment, I pointed out the window. Zhu Wannian looked where I pointed. Her gaze tightened sharply. Cars streamed past in the busy street. Under the osmanthus tree by the street, Zhu Wannian saw Liu Ryan walking shoulder to shoulder with a man. She seemed to be sharing something amusing with him. As she spoke, she turned her head. Her whole face was bright with mischief. The man seemed drawn in by what she was saying. He listened and smiled quietly. Then, I watched Liu Ruyan suddenly throw herself into the man's arms. She murmured on and on. She was acting coy. She was acting coy with that man. The moment I realized that, I saw Liu Ruyan lift her head. Under that osmanthus tree, the tree where we had lingered so many times, she began kissing the man. My hand clenched around the cup. It felt as if a knife had been driven hard into my heart. The pain left me unable to breathe. I had read the chat records. I knew Liu Ruyan, and that man would come here today. That was why I chose this place to meet my lawyer. Reason told me I needed to witness Liu Ruyan's affair with my own eyes here, and crush the last tiny trace of old affection and reluctance I still held for her. But emotionally, I still clung to one foolish hope. Liu Ruyan would not bring him here. This was where we had fallen in love. So much had happened between us here. She had confessed to me here. She had kissed me here. When it snowed, right here, she had slipped her hand into my pocket and said coyly, "My hands are so pretty. You have to take good care of them." But a foolish hope is still foolish. How could an impossible thought ever become real? Liu Ruyan still brought that man here. But why here? How could it be here? Liu Ruyan, tell me. Why did you choose this place? Why? I sat there blankly, my face numb. Across from me, Wannian looked at a loss. All she could offer was a pale, helpless comfort. Yuan, Liu Ruyan probably still has feelings for you. Of course, I knew Liu Ruyan still had feelings for me. It was just that those feelings had been tasted by her for more than 10 years. She had grown tired of them. The novelty had faded. The moonlight of first love had turned into a stale bit of rice stuck to the table. All that remained was a sour, spoiled smell. I gathered my emotions back together and asked Wannian again about what to watch for in the divorce. By the time we finished, it was almost 4 in the afternoon. I thanked Wannian. Out of politeness, I added, "Let's have dinner sometime when you are free." Then I hurried to the kindergarten to pick up Jiang Man. I had only just gotten home when Liu Ruyan texted that she had to work late and would come back later. I stared at it for a while before putting the phone back in my pocket. Then I told Nanny Lee to cook only enough for 2. Jiang Man heard me and asked, "Daddy, is Mommy not coming home again?" I paused before I could speak. Jiang Man's little mouth puckered into a pout. "Mommy has been busy for so long. Every time she tells Mammon, next time. Mammon has not eaten with Mommy in ages. Mommy was not like this before. No matter how busy she was, she would rush home to eat with Mammon." That was true. When had it started? When had Liu Ruyan started to change? Becoming this busy. So busy she could no longer even look after Mammon? How could I have been so careless? The person beside me had already changed completely, yet I had not noticed at all. While I was lost in thought, Jiang Man had already picked up her children's smartwatch and called Liu Ruyan. She muttered under her breath, "No, I have to give her a good scolding." I was startled. His hand had just reached out to stop Jiang Man when the call connected. "Mommy, Manman," a lowered voice, heavy, frantic breathing. The rest needed no words. I snatched Jiang Man's watch at once and shouted, "Liu Ruyan." The other end went silent for a beat. Then came the panicked rustle of clothing. "Yuan, how did I get here? Is that what you mean? If I were not here, would you take advantage of Mammon not understanding anything? Talking to Mammon on one side, while doing that with that man." My throat felt stuffed with burning coal, aching and blocked. It was disgusting, truly disgusting. I was almost unable to hold back. I wanted to ask Liu Ruyan, just how many times, in the past, when Mammon and I had messaged her, had she replied while in a situation like this? But asking now would be like spitting into the sea. It would change nothing. I bit down hard on the tip of my tongue and said, one word at a time. Mammon dialed the wrong number. "Go ahead, be busy." Without waiting for a reply, I ended the call. The whole thing took less than 10 seconds. Jiang Man looked at me, a little frightened. Daddy, what is wrong?" Jiang Man shook my arm. In that trembling moment, I clearly felt something warm fall from my eyes. When Jiang Man saw it, she burst into tears. "Daddy, I am sorry. Manman should not have called. I should not have bothered Mommy at work. She is so busy." It was as if countless poison arrows were nearly piercing straight through my heart. I turned sharply and pulled Jiang Man's tiny body into my arms. It is not Manman's fault. Do not cry, Manman. Daddy just got sand in his eyes. Jiang Man lifted her little tear-streaked face. Then Manman will blow it away for Daddy. Once Manman blows the sand away, Daddy will not feel bad anymore. Through my tears, I could not see Jiang Man's expression clearly. I could only make out that small, childish outline. So small. She was only 4. Liu Ruyan, how could you bear to do this? Half an hour later, Liu Ruyan hurried home. I had already composed myself and was with Jiang Man, curled up on the sofa watching television. When I heard the movement, I did not even lift my head. Back so soon? Liu Ruyan answered with an awkward little laugh. I was supposed to handle a contract, but it turned out not to be needed. So I thought I should hurry back and spend time with you both. The corner of my mouth lifted slightly, my mockery hidden beneath the calm. Jiang Man, though, turned and made a face at Liu Ruyan. Bad mommy. Liu Ruyan's smile was guilty. She used taking off her shoes to hide her emotions. Manman, how can you say that about mommy? Jiang Man gave a little huff. Because you have not eaten with me and Daddy in a long time. Liu Ruyan froze. Tomorrow, mommy will definitely eat with Manman. As she spoke, she walked over and tried to pick Jiang Man up like usual. But I stopped her. You just came back from outside. You are dirty. Take a shower before you hold Manman. It was an ordinary thing to say, but perhaps because of that call just now, Liu Ruyan could not help feeling uneasy. Where am I dirty? She lifted her clothes and looked herself over. But Zhang Yuan did not spare her even half a glance. Her heart hung even higher with fear. Husband, just now. What about just now? I lifted my head and looked at her. Our eyes met. My gaze was dark and deep, yet something like a glimmer of tears seemed to flash there. Liu Ruyan's heart ached for no reason. She began to panic. Instinct told her something important had vanished. She could not help holding me tighter. She said, Manman is right. I have not spent time with you two in so long. Let us take Manman to the amusement park this weekend. After saying that, she leaned in and kissed me. I did not want to go at all. Even this embrace I had once longed for so deeply, now only made me feel sick. So sick I almost threw up. But Jiang Man badly wanted to go. She clapped her hands, overjoyed, saying it had been so long since she went out with Daddy and Mommy. I could not bear to disappoint her. So I agreed. That weekend, after days of gloom, the sun finally came out. It hung bright in the sky like a golden disc. Liu Ruyan bustled around, getting everything we needed ready. Then she personally drove us to the amusement park. The amusement park was crowded, packed shoulder to shoulder. Jiang Man had not been here in a long time. She was unusually excited. One moment, she wanted cotton candy. The next, she wanted to ride the carousel. Liu Ruyan did every single thing she asked. I followed behind the two of them, watching their smiling faces. In the past, I would have felt so happy. But now, my heart felt hollow and stifled. That was when the accident happened. A man suddenly charged over. The crowd around us screamed and scattered in panic. Confused, Zhang Yuan turned back. Then he saw the man gripping a bag in one hand and a knife in the other, coming straight at him. Get out of the way. Instinctively, I shielded Liu Ruyan behind me. But Liu Ruyan was faster. She stepped directly in front of me and took the man's blade from me. My ears rang. In that instant, my mind went completely blank. All I saw was Liu Ruyan turning back, a smile on her pale face. Yuan, are you all right? It felt as if a hand had seized my heart. The pain so sharp I could not breathe. I did not understand. Why would you do this? Why would you still act like before? Stepping in front of me without hesitation? Why make it seem as if nothing had changed? Liu Ruyan, you clearly had already cheated on me. At the hospital, I had just soothed my daughter and asked Nanny Lee to take her home. Right after that, Lee's mother hurried over. I stood up. Mom, slap? I had only just opened my mouth when Lee's mother struck me hard across the face. How did you take care of my daughter? Lee's mother came at me with fury, and the slap rang out loud. I covered the half of my face that had gone numb and lowered my eyes as I said, the police came just now and took our statements. It was a random robbery. He had not meant to hurt anyone at first. Is that what I was asking you? Lee's mother clutched her chest in anger. It is bad enough that you have no job and sit around doing nothing all day. Now you even let Ruyan, a woman, take a knife for you. Are you even a man? I still remembered when Liu Ruyan's company was in desperate straits. I joined without hesitation. Every time Liu's mother saw me, she grinned from ear to ear. She would hold my hand, full of endless family chatter. I also remembered when Ruyan had depression. Liu's mother kept calling me, Yuan, my good son, over and over, half begging me to resign as general manager of Guyu. Later, when I truly withdrew from the business battlefield and gave up my career to cook at home as a stay-at-home husband, Liu's mother began to despise me. She disliked how I dressed. She disliked how I spoke, even when I did nothing at all. She disliked me simply standing there, as if I blocked her view. But without me, how could there be today's Guyu? How could others ever respectfully call Liu's mother Mrs. Liu? Sure enough, Gu Chen had been right. Marriage was a card game. Giving up your career was going all in. Whether you broke even depended entirely on the other player's conscience. Once they lost that conscience, you lost everything. I had taken the gamble, so I could accept the loss. But that did not mean I would keep trampling my own dignity. At the time, I had shielded Ruyan behind me. I raised my eyes to Liu's mother. She was the one who suddenly rushed out. Liu's mother flew into a rage. Her hand shot up, ready to slap me again. Mom. Ruyan hurried over. Both of us froze. Almost by instinct, I pulled at her clothes to check her wound. I kept saying, "Why did you rush over like that? Be careful. Your wound could reopen." Seeing that she was all right, I finally let out a breath. At the same time, a tangle of emotions surged up inside me. Before today, I had already made up my mind. No matter what, I had to sever every tie with Ruyan. But what happened today went beyond what I had prepared myself for. I could not suppress my hatred over Ruyan cheating on me. Yet I could not ignore how she had risked everything to put herself between me and danger. While my thoughts churned, Ruyan said, "I am fine. What about you? Are you okay?" She was asking about the slap Liu's mother had just given me. I felt as if wet cotton had been stuffed down my throat. Even breathing was difficult. My heart suddenly softened. I shook my head. "I am fine. Stay with Mom. I will go back and make you some soup." In the early days of the company, there were endless tasks and heavy projects. Ruyan and I worked overtime almost every day. Back then, I would cook soup for Ruyan myself. I called it. I even joked, a man should spoil his own wife himself. Later, the company gradually got on track. There were people to handle the work for us. And at home, we had Nanny Lee. So Ruyan rarely got to drink my soup anymore. Only occasionally did she still get to benefit from Jiang Yuan's care. Today he was going to make soup for himself. She still cared for him the way she used to. At that thought, Ruyan's mood suddenly lifted. Moved, she kissed me. "Go on. Be safe." After I had gone far enough, Liu's mother helped Ruyan lie down on the bed. Only then did she spit out, "Look at the way he acted just now. He does not even think about who is supporting him. A grown man, and he still has the nerve to throw a temper." Ruyan had been stabbed in the abdomen. The wound was not deep, but the slightest movement still brought unbearable pain. She could not help frowning, though whether from the injury or Liu's mother's words, no one could tell. "Mom, stop talking. He is still my husband, and I am still your mother." He spoke to me like that. Liu's mother's voice rose. After drawing disdainful looks from others, she belatedly lowered her voice. "In my opinion, you should just divorce him. A man who does nothing all day is pathetic enough. Besides, I even had someone read your birth charts. He is bad for your fortune. Otherwise, your company would be more than twice its current size." "Mom, what are you talking about? I could never divorce you on." Liu's mother had once been a hired worker in a small county town restaurant. Once she stepped into the world of power and ambition. She wanted to scrub every trace of her old self clean. Jiang Yuan was one of those stains. As long as he was there, people would not think her daughter was impressive. They would only say, "Oh, the one who climbed up by relying on a man." Clearly, that company had been founded by her daughter. That man had only come in to handle some paperwork. At most, he could hold his liquor at banquets. So, how had all the credit become his? Besides, he had been away from the company for years now. Was the company not doing perfectly fine? So, Liu's mother tried every way she could to make them divorce. She picked apart every fault she could find in Jiang Yuan, but Ruyan refused to give in. So, Liu's mother could do nothing. Seeing Ruyan's casual expression, Liu's mother's brows drew tight. "Do not brush me off. I have been through this. I would never hurt you." At last, Ruyan said impatiently, "I know. Did I not listen to you before? I pretended to have depression so he would resign as general manager. I kept all the assets firmly in my own hands." Her voice was not loud, but every single word fell into my ears after I had turned back. I stood in the slanting evening light. It was clearly not cold, yet my whole body trembled. After a long time, I stiffly took out my phone and sent Ruyan a message. Maman was a little frightened today. She needs someone with her. I will have Nanny Lee bring the soup. She replied almost instantly. Okay, you too. Sleep early tonight. The next day, I carried soup from a restaurant and headed to the hospital. That morning, Ruyan's assistant had messaged me. She said the patient in the next bed had cried out in pain all night. President Liu could not sleep through the noise, so they had moved her to a private ward overnight. Following the room number the assistant gave me, I had just reached the door when I heard a strained voice. Ruyan, do not hold back. I like the sound you make when you let it out. Perhaps because I had already been through this before. At that moment, I actually felt grateful that my self-control was strong enough. Otherwise, I might really have rushed in and beaten them black and blue. I was sentimental, but I would not torture myself. Once the pain had passed and the tears had fallen, once I wiped my eyes dry, the past was simply the past. What mattered most was walking the road ahead well. I left the soup at the nurse's desk and went home alone to quietly pack my things. Wannian had said that if property division was set aside and both parties agreed to divorce, there would only be a 1-month cooling-off period. But if one party refused, then I had to prepare for a long battle. First, we would need a long de facto separation. Fortunately, before marrying Ruyan, I had listened to my friend's advice and used my own money to buy an apartment. Now I could move into it. Halfway through packing, I received a call from Ruyan. Husband, you came to the hospital just now? Ruyan herself might not have noticed it, but whenever she felt guilty, she would call me softly. Husband, it had happened during Maman's call last time, and now, it happened again. I meant to unsettle her. I dragged my tone out, slow and heavy, and Ruyan did panic. Then why did you leave? I said nothing. In that stretch of silence, I saw a photo of Ruyan and me on the outside of the cardboard box. The image was a little blurry, not because it was old or taken with bad equipment, but because Ruyan had cropped this photo from a large club group picture. I once teased her about it. There were so many photos of us. Why put this one on the bedside table? But Ruyan smiled and said, without this photo, I would never have won you over. Back then, there was a senior who showered her with concern every day and kept hanging around Ruyan like a shadow. I was quiet by nature. Seeing it made me uncomfortable. Then I heard rumors that the two of them were almost together. So I deliberately put distance between Ruyan and me. If I had not seen Ruyan's phone case, with this photo tucked inside the back, our fate might have ended right there. So Ruyan treated this photo like a temple charm. Whenever we argued, she would bow to it. I had thought that was only Ruyan joking. But once, after we got married, we had an awful fight. When the tension was on the verge of exploding, cups, chairs, everything was being smashed onto the floor. At the time, I truly thought we could not go on living like that. But then Ruyan turned and went into the bedroom to bow before that photo. Her face was covered in tears, yet her expression was solemn and devout. Give me back my gentle, thoughtful husband. I thought that after everything I had been through, Ruyan could no longer hurt me. But seeing those memories from before, my eyes still stung badly. I did not understand. Why do people change? And why do they have two faces? One face when they look at me, and another when my back is turned. During that brief moment, I was lost in thought. She had already started to panic on the other end. In that silence, Ruyan even felt as if she had missed a step going downstairs, her heart suspended in sudden dread and despair. She hurriedly put on her clothes. Husband, I am coming home right now. Wait for me. We will talk when I get back. No need. I refused at once. Realizing my tone sounded wrong, I steadied my emotions and said as calmly as I could, do not come back. I am not home. There seemed to be a pause on her end. Then she grew anxious again. You are not home. Then where are you? I will come find you. Some emotion rose into my eyes like a thin mist. I forced it back. I pretended to sound light. I am out buying a bedding set. Winter is coming. The beds at home need thicker quilts. Why would you come? When someone has a guilty conscience, everything they hear sounds like an accusation. That was exactly how Ruyan had felt lately. She always felt there was a hidden meaning in my words. So even after I explained it this way, she still could not feel at ease. She quickly handled her discharge and rushed home. On the way, she stopped at a mall and picked out several bedding sets in different patterns. then hurried back home. The moment she reached the door, Nanny Lee rushed out in a panic. Sir, please go check on Madam. Did something happen? The words had barely left my mouth when Ruyan rushed out with reddened eyes. She grabbed me tightly. Why are so many of your clothes missing? Where are you going? My throat tightened. During that call with Ruyan just now, I had already guessed she might come back early, so I had not packed much to take away. But I had not expected Ruyan to notice anyway. I tried to keep my expression normal. A few days ago, I saw the neighborhood collecting clothing donations, so I donated a few old pieces I rarely wore. The scarf I wear upon for you, and the gloves too. You donated all of them? Pain struck my heart, but I still said calmly, I had not worn them in a long time. Ryan's face dimmed, but I wear upon those for you myself. She looked like a child eager to prove herself to me. Then she hurriedly changed her words. It is okay. Husband, I will knit more for you later, but you cannot throw them away again. Otherwise, I will be hurt. Hurt? This is enough to hurt you. My heart ached and swelled without stopping. I tugged my mouth into a smile. We have been married for years. Why still say things like that? Ryan paused. She reached out and cupped my face. She seemed to feel my voice was damp with emotion, yet there was no feeling on my face at all. It was as if covered by snow, distant and calm. The panic from earlier wrapped around Ryan's heart again. It was as if something important was being drawn out, bit by bit from her very blood and bones. Yuan. But I simply brushed off her grip and asked, why did you not stay at the hospital a little longer? Those words reminded Ryan. At last, she remembered that at the hospital just now. It was only after Shuhua lured her on that she lost control. Then she heard a nurse say her husband had left soup at the reception desk. In that moment, panic, remorse, fear, and countless other emotions surged over one another. They left her unable to care about anything else. She only wanted to hurry back. She needed to hold Jiang in her arms, solid and real. If he had found out. Ryan fell silent for a moment. She was just about to test the waters. But Jiang said, did you drink the soup I brought? Something came up, so I asked the nurse to give it to you and left. Ryan breathed a sigh of relief. I saw it. I drank it. The soup you make is still as good as before, husband. A trace of mockery crossed Jiang's eyes. But he did not want to say more about it. He feared Ryan might notice something, and he found it sickening. So he turned the subject to her injury, and used it to bring up his plan to return to the company. Ryan paused while changing her shoes. Why do you suddenly want to go back to the company? Mammon is in kindergarten now. She does not need me watching her every moment like before. That leaves me with a lot more time. Before I could finish, Ryan grabbed both my arms and said in a low voice, husband, you have been away from the company for so long. A lot of the business is not what it used to be. You may not be able to keep up. I had already expected Ryan to say that. If I cannot keep up, I can learn. Besides, that day at the hospital, I saw Mom's attitude clearly. She thinks I am dragging you down. Mom did not mean it that way. She was only a little anxious, but I took it to heart. I ignored her frown and said calmly, besides, is it not good for me to go back to the company? Did you not always say that when I was at the company, you felt much more at ease? Ryan was speechless for a moment. I pressed my advantage and pretended to joke. Or is it that you are keeping some little lover at the company, and you are afraid to let me go there? Of course not. Her voice suddenly rose. The denial only made it sound guiltier. How had I never noticed before? Had I grown complacent in comfort? My mind gone dull? Or had I trusted the person beside me too much? My gaze darkened for a moment, but I quickly arranged my face into an easy smile. Then why will you not let me go? I am only afraid you will wear yourself out. Ryan smiled and moved in to hug Jiang. She was trying to brush it off that way. I refused to let her have her way. I turned aside to avoid her and said, but I am more afraid of being idle. Ryan, you know what kind of person I am. My words left no room for argument. My gaze was straight as a blade, like the blazing light of noon. It left Ryan nowhere to hide. She had no choice but to compromise. But she still asked Jiang to wait a few days first. She claimed it was so Mammon could adjust to the times when he was not around. But I caught another meaning beneath it. Most likely, she wanted to move that man somewhere else. But I did not care. A fox can never hide its tail. Besides, this sly fox of a man did not even want to hide. 3 days later, I arrived downstairs at Guyu. After 6 years away, the front desk had completely changed. The receptionist froze when she saw me come in. Who are you here to see? I said. I am the CEO starting today. The receptionist looked confused. Still, she asked me to wait a moment. After making a phone call, the receptionist said to me apologetically, HR has not received any notice about a new CEO starting today. I paused. Then I called Ruyan directly. It rang for a long time. No one answered. I called several more times before I finally got through to Ruyan. You did not tell HR I was coming today. There was a brief pause on the other end. Then she said, suddenly sounding annoyed with herself, too much has been happening lately. I forgot. Husband, do not worry. I will call the HR manager right away. A faint, disdainful smile crossed my lips. Ruyan was supposed to come with me this morning, but just before we left, she received a phone call. She said there was a project that urgently needed her there. I did not think much of it then, but what had just happened made it impossible not to understand. This was Ruyan quietly firing a warning shot at me, telling me to know my place, telling me to back down. The more clearly I saw it, the more I felt the person who slept beside me had changed beyond recognition without my noticing. Only an empty shell I still longed for remained. I gave a soft, slow hum of acknowledgement. That sound left my throat. No rush. We will take this slowly. There was deeper meaning in my words, but Ruyan on the other end did not hear it. I exchanged a few tender words with her before reluctantly hanging up. Then, under the receptionist's cutting smile, I waited until the HR manager came rushing over. When the HR manager saw me, he had not even caught his breath before he bent at the waist in a 90-degree bow. President Jiang, sorry to keep you waiting. Seeing HR act so deferentially, the receptionist's expression changed at once. Her legs trembling, she hurried out. President Jiang, I am so sorry. I waved it off. I did not like being looked down on, but I did not like using status to pressure people either. Besides, time was tight, and the workload was heavy. I had no time for these formalities. Once I reached my workstation, I immediately had someone prepare the documents for the department meeting coming up. Through the meeting and conversations with each department, I needed to grasp the company's situation quickly. However, the meeting did not go smoothly. No one had clearly taken it seriously. When called on, they answered in a lazy, careless way. When I tried to ask more deeply, they passed responsibility back and forth. After enough of that, someone raised a trembling hand. President Jiang, it is lunchtime. Can we eat first? I could only pause for the moment while I went to the break room to make coffee. I heard voices on the other side of the glass. How much longer is this meeting going to last? I still have a proposal to write. Just endure it. A new boss always wants to make a show of authority. We just need to get through these 2 days. I really do not get it. Was it not enough to be a kept man at home? Why come meddle in the workplace? Does he not know what it means to bite off more than he can chew? What do you know? He is here to keep an eye on assistant pay. Seriously, absolutely true. Otherwise, why would President Liu have just taken assistant pay on a business trip to Jiang City, only for the real spouse to show up right after? The coffee finished brewing. The machine let out a sharp, shrill beep that pierced everyone's ears. I pushed the door open. What met my eyes were several faces trembling with fear. President Jiang. I nodded. Have you eaten? Seeing them shake their heads, I said, if you have not eaten, go eat quickly. Leave yourselves more time to rest. After all, we still have meetings all afternoon. After saying that, I left them with a graceful view of my back and walked straight away. I made my attitude so hard to read, not because I was a pushover, but because I knew giving people ammunition was like hanging a blade over their necks. Who would dare be anything but careful? The effect was clear. During the afternoon meeting, everyone became deadly serious. Whatever I asked, they answered as if they knew it by heart. They were terrified that one careless move would set me off. Losing their jobs would be bad enough, but if a pile of ugly messes got dragged out, and President Liu held a grudge, being blacklisted in the industry would finish them. Because of that, as they spoke with me in depth, they discovered I was not what they had imagined. I was not just an empty-headed freeloader husband. On the contrary, I was highly professional. My sensitivity to data and my mastery of workplace politics left them quietly impressed. Only then did everyone finally remember that Mr. Jiang standing before them was the man who had fought through fierce competition and opened Shangshi's doors through sheer ability. He was also the founder who had once brought Guyu back from the brink. Ruyan had already been in Jiang City for a week. she had deliberately stayed that long. First, she wanted Zhang Yuan to back down once things got difficult. Second, she needed to settle Pei Shuhua somewhere safe. That way, the real partner and the lover would not end up face to face and blow the whole thing open. At first, Ruyan had found the whole thing troublesome. But once she took Pei Shuhua out of town, to a place where neither of them knew anyone, where no one knew their past, Pei Shuhua used every trick he had to keep her tangled with him in bed. Ruyan became like a spring freed from a weight that had pressed it down for too long. All at once, she lost control. She stayed in Jiang City for 7 days, and for 7 days, she fooled around with Pei Shuhua in that hotel. On the bed, on the sofa, by the wash basin, at the window with the curtains open, she bent over the railing, screaming for him in broad daylight. So on the final night, when Pei Shuhua told her he could not bear to part, Ruyan actually thought about going back a few days later. But the thought only flashed through her mind. Then Zhang Yuan's face surged up before her, the way he had sworn before the officiant, and said, "I do." His expression had been solemn and grave, yet the corners of his eyes were red. He had said, "Ruyan, I will be good to you for the rest of my life. I will never betray you." It was as if leeches were crawling over her back. A vast panic coiled around her heart. She could not explain why. She simply opened her chat with Zhang Yuan and sent one line in a rush. "Are you asleep?" There was no reply for a long time. Only then did Ruyan finally bother to scroll back through her earlier messages with Zhang Yuan. Back then, she had been lost in pleasure. Or perhaps she had wanted Zhang Yuan to walk into a dead end with no one to help him. So she had not noticed at all that she and Zhang Yuan had only exchanged a few shallow lines each day. Now, looking back through the screen, Zhang Yuan's replies seemed almost cold. Ruyan's chest clenched suddenly. It was as if a sharp blade had driven straight into her heart. Beside her, Pei Shuhua was still speaking softly, but Ruyan only felt irritated. She shoved him away, got dressed, climbed out of bed, and went to the hallway to call. One call after another. Finally, it connected. As Ruyan breathed in relief, anger rose in her again. She demanded, "Why did it take you so long to answer?" The other end paused. Then, in a light, almost weightless tone, word by word, his words exploded beside Ruyan's ear like thunder. "Ruyan, I am downstairs at your hotel." I hung up. The darkened screen reflected my cold, hard face. I stood at the curb beside the rushing traffic. The streetlights on both sides glowed bright yellow and dazzling, but they were nothing next to the glaring lights in the tower before me. After staring for a while, I even found them oddly comforting. Family gathered together, under warm, familiar lights. When Ruyan hurried downstairs, she saw me standing there with my face lifted. He seemed to be looking at something very intently, very intently. There was even the faintest trace of mockery at the corner of my mouth. That panic surged up in her again. Ruyan hurried over and wrapped her arms around my waist. "Husband, have you been waiting long?" The moment she came close, the unmistakable smell of sex rushed into my nose. I nearly gagged. I could not stop myself from pushing her away. Before Ruyan could react, she met the disgust in my eyes. "How long has it been since you showered?" Ruyan panicked a little. She made a show of sniffing her collar, then her sleeve and shoulder. "Maybe a little. Maybe I picked it up while eating with clients earlier." As she spoke, she pouted as if wronged. "Husband, you are disgusted by me." I did not answer. I dragged my luggage into the hotel. Ruyan's face stiffened, but guilty, she hurried after me. "Husband, why did you come so suddenly?" Hearing that, I deliberately looked into her eyes and said with a smile, "Same as you. The company has a project to discuss." Ruyan could not help avoiding my gaze, but her heart was pounding with unease. Back then, she had said she came to Jiang City for a project, but that project was not urgent, and it was not important enough for her to handle personally. Had he come here because he found out? Was that why he had rushed over so suddenly? But I had only been back at the company for 7 days. Only 7 days. In such a short time. Could he really understand every detail of the company now? No, right? Definitely not. I looked at Ruyan reflected in the elevator mirror. She thought she had hidden everything perfectly. In truth, she was almost transparent before me. She thought I did not know what she had really been doing in Jiang City. It had only been 7 days. All I had to do was ask my people to pull the Jiang City project records, and I would know everything clearly. But I could not be bothered. I had too many things to handle. I had no time to monitor her every move. As for why I had come now, I truly had business here. Besides, That man was genuinely irritating. Every day, he emailed me videos of himself and Ruyan. His words grew more arrogant by the day. Yesterday, he even sent one line. Yesterday, your wife called me husband. I shut my eyes. Then came a ding. A sharp ding. The elevator doors opened. I saw Pei Shu was standing outside. He was dressed rather casually. Wide-leg jeans, a knit top with a wide neckline, with the slightest movement, which made it easy for Zhang Yuan to see those suggestive red marks. He reached a hand toward me. Hello. I glanced at Ruyan. She clearly had not expected Pei Shuhua to dare block us at the elevator. When she came down, she had obviously warned him not to show his face in front of Zhang Yuan. In her frightened panic, Ruyan heard me ask, "And this is?" She spoke before Pei Shuhua could. "My assistant. He came with me this time to discuss the project." "Is that so?" "Besides Assistant Huang, you have another male assistant." Compared with Ruyan's pale, tense face, Zhang Yuan's smile was distant and unhurried. Even his question came slowly, without pressure. He did not seem to want any explanation from Ruyan. Almost as soon as the words fell, I turned my head and nodded to Pei Shuhua. "Hello. I am Zhang Yuan." My gaze rested on Pei Shuhua, but I drew it back almost at once. It was like glancing at dust floating in the air. Annoying to see, but not worth brushing away. A moment ago, Pei Shuhua had thought he had the upper hand. Now he felt defeated instead. Irritated, he forced out a smile. "Let me help with your luggage." "No need." Ruyan rejected him at once. Then, as Pei Shuhua's smile froze, she said without thinking, "My husband is particular about cleanliness. He does not like other people touching his things." Mist instantly rose in Pei Shuhua's pretty eyes. Ruyan seemed to realize she had said the wrong thing. She immediately looked at Pei Shuhua. Her lips moved slightly, as if apologizing, or perhaps coaxing him. I watched it all from the side. Suddenly I felt like the villain breaking up to lovers. I stood between them, leaving them able only to gaze at each other from afar and silently pour out their longing. I am not the self-pitying type, but, in that moment, I still felt from the bottom of my heart as if 1,000 arrows had pierced me. I walked straight between them. "Where is my room?" Only then did Ruyan snap back to herself. She dragged the luggage and hurried after me. "Room 5502. Husband, wait for me." After we entered the room, we shared the same unspoken understanding and avoided what had just happened. Ruyan eagerly massaged my legs and kneaded my shoulders. I did not say a word the entire time. Instead, Ruyan badgered me with questions. "Husband, which company is that project with?" "Yuanlai." "When is the meeting scheduled?" "Tomorrow." "Husband." I took a deep breath. Ruyan. I spent for hours on the high-speed rail. I am tired. I do not want to talk. Ruyan choked on her words. I pulled my feet out of the basin. I dried them myself and got into bed. Before long, Ruyan lay down too. She held me from behind and said softly, "Husband, you are tired today. Rest early. I will not bother you anymore." I ignored her. From behind me, Ruyan lifted her head to look at me. My eyes were closed, my face worn with the fatigue of travel. He is probably truly tired. Thinking that, Ruyan silently lay back down. Night slowly settled in. The breathing beside her gradually grew light and shallow. Listening, Ruyan quietly withdrew her arm and tiptoed downstairs. With Yuanlai, the project meeting was set for 2 in the afternoon. Ruyan was clearly exhausted from the night before. I had already signed the contract when she finally called in a rush to ask where I was. By then, I was already heading to dinner with the people from Yuanlai. I did not hide it from her. I told Ruyan the place. After a pause, I added, "Bring that assistant of yours." Ruyan actually wanted to ask why she should bring Pei Shuhua, but the next second, she feared the question would make her seem guilty. After all, Pei Shuhua was openly her assistant. There was nothing wrong with him coming. So Ruyan agreed. Half an hour later, the two of them finally arrived late. Pei Shuhua wore a black suit today. The cut was sharp and clean. He looked especially dashing, so much so that the moment he appeared, a female CEO in the private room looked straight at him. The female CEO's surname was Wen, but her character was nothing like the gentleness of her name. She had a whole mess of romantic scandals. She especially liked hooking up with pretty young men. She also often lingered in nightclubs and hired male escorts. Seeing this, Ruyan frowned in clear displeasure. She shifted sideways and silently blocked Pei Shuhua behind her. I thought I had already accepted reality, but seeing it for real still stabbed at my heart. I turned my gaze away without a trace of emotion. But halfway through, my eyes met Pei Shua's. His eyes held a winner's smile with a trace of pity. I knew what he was after. With so many people here, he was deliberately provoking me like this, only to make me angry, lose control, and embarrass myself in front of everyone. But he seemed to have forgotten that from the moment I received that email until now. Nearly a month had passed. My love for Ruyan had already burned itself out. Where would I find the energy for this drama? I did not dodge or look away. I nodded and smiled at Pei Shuwa with calm composure. Then I sat down calmly as his expression stiffened. Ruyan stuck close beside me like taffy. Leaning to my ear, she kept asking, "Husband, why didn't you wake me when you got up? You looked exhausted. Besides, I could handle the project meeting alone. So I did not wake you." But I truly did not want to talk to her. So I cut her off. "What exactly were you doing yesterday? So tired you only got up now?" Ruyan's expression changed. Then she said awkwardly, "Yesterday, I had insomnia. I only fell asleep around 4 or 5 in the morning. Just then, a server brought over a hot dish. She immediately picked up a piece and put it into Jiang's bowl. Husband, try this. It looks good." The gesture made the others start teasing us. They kept saying we were such a loving couple, that no wonder our family and business were thriving, and so on. To both Pei Shua and me, every word sounded painfully grating. Only Ruyan was in high spirits. She chatted on and on with them about our past. The others were moved by what they heard, but I knew perfectly well that she was only doing this to curry favor with me. He looked up at Pei Shua across the table, who was swallowing with difficulty. "Assistant Pei, is the food not to your taste? I heard this is one of the best restaurants in Jiang City." Pei Shua was already burning with jealousy over these people's fawning flattery. When I suddenly called on him, he did not even catch what I had said. He could only sit there with an awkward look on his face. Sometimes, breaking the ice between people takes only one sentence. With my little opening, President Wen, who had long been eyeing him like prey, could not resist striking up a conversation with Pei Shua. She then used flimsy excuses to urge him to drink. As expected, Pei Shua looked toward Ruyan, but Ruyan avoided his gaze. Pei Shua's face darkened. As if acting out of spite, he clinked glasses with wrinkled-faced President Wen. Then he drained it in one go. But President Wen did not let him off. One glass after another. She even urged the others to force drinks on him. "Mr. Pei, you can really hold your liquor. Come on. Let me toast you." No matter how well Pei Shua could drink, he could not withstand this round after round of pressure. At last, his face flushed. He rose unsteadily. "Excuse me, everyone. I need to use the restroom." As he said this, his gaze brushed vaguely over Ruyan. Ruyan got up, about to follow him. But the moment she moved, she froze. "Yuan, I will go check on Assistant Pei. He seems to have drunk too much." I lowered my head and ate the lotus heart. I did not answer her right away. Instead, President Wen immediately stood up. "President Liu, do not worry. I will check on him for you." I answered even faster than Ruyan. "Thank you, President Wen. No trouble at all." President Wen waved her hand. That smile was so disgusting it sent Ruyan's anger surging everywhere. Seeing her leave the private room, Ruyan said anxiously, "Husband, how could you agree to let President Wen go?" "Why shouldn't I agree? Ruyan, didn't you see just now? She was deliberately trying to get Assistant Pei drunk. When people come out to discuss cooperation, who doesn't get pressed to drink a little? He is a grown man. Is he really afraid of being drunk?" Ruyan was speechless for a moment. She frowned and looked at him. "Have you forgotten how people used to force drinks on you? Didn't you say back then that you hated drinking table culture the most? You even told me that at Guyu, this kind of thing would never be allowed to happen. Then what do you call this?" The more she spoke, the more anxious she became, and the angrier she grew. My expression remained perfectly calm. "Did Pei Shua tell you he did not want to drink?" I looked straight at her. My eyes were unusually still, like a thin thread of moonlight slipping down, barely illuminating Ruyan hidden at the bottom of a well. As if all her filth had been seen through. Humiliated, she flew into anger. "Jiang, how did you become like this? Pei Shua only just graduated. He does not understand anything. Why do you have to make things so hard for him?" "Fine, go, then." I wiped my mouth, tossed down the napkin, and cut her off. Ruyan froze. After 1 second of hesitation, she said, "I will be right back." With that, she ran out. Her retreating figure looked as if flames were licking at her heels. Everyone present was a shrewd old hand who had seen the world. How could they not sense something was wrong? The atmosphere fell silent for a moment. Everyone quietly glanced at my face. My expression was still mostly normal, but my lips had gone pale. Only for an instant. Then I stood up. I smiled at everyone and said, "Excuse me, I need to use the restroom." The others nodded awkwardly, but everyone knew perfectly well. This was not about using the restroom. I was clearly going to catch them in the act. I had been right about one thing. Shuhua was a grown man, yet he was afraid of being drunk. So, what if he was a man? Without power or backing, he was still easy prey for President Wen at that table. Not only could he not swallow the humiliation, he had to smile and play along. However, a cornered man will do desperate things. Since I pushed him, he also had to show me exactly what place he held in Liu Ryan's heart. So Shuhua simply took advantage of the situation. He put on the full act of being bullied, and even as he fled in panic, he faintly hooked a finger across President Wen's palm. President Wen could not help eagerly following him out. People are pathetic that way. Something they usually would not even look at. Once someone else fights for it, they suddenly feel possessive. Shuhua pretended to flirt with President Wen. When he heard footsteps drawing closer, his expression changed in an instant. He kept pushing President Wen away. When Liu Ryan reached the restroom and saw that scene, rage rushed straight to her head. She charged over, grabbed President Wen, and snapped, "President Wen, Assistant Pei is my man." President Wen was caught off guard. Her wrist was twisted by Liu Ryan's sudden grab. She cried out in pain. "This is mutual." "What do you mean, your man?" "He is my man." When Zhang Yuan arrived, the two of them were in the middle of a fierce argument. He leaned to one side and watched in silence. Only when the others heard the commotion and hurried over, did he finally step in. He caught Liu Ryan's hand and said, "Stop arguing." Liu Ryan flung him off. "Get away from me." She used every ounce of strength in that shove. Zhang Yuan was caught unprepared. He was shoved backward several steps. With a bang, Zhang Yuan crashed into the sharp corner of the sink. "President Jiang, are you all right?" That cry from someone nearby finally snapped Liu Ryan back to herself. She looked up and saw Zhang Yuan's face as pale as paper. Her heart lurched. She rushed over in panic. "Yuan, are you all right?" Zhang Yuan clutched the back of his head. He was trembling from the pain. But, even then, he still pushed her away. Liu Ryan's heart suddenly clenched in pain. "Husband, do not call me that," Zhang Yuan shouted. Zhang Yuan said to someone nearby, "Please take me to the hospital." His voice was unnervingly calm. At such a sharp, unbearable moment, it sounded almost like a desperate attempt to cover everything up. The others were still stunned. Hearing Zhang Yuan's request, they could not react at once. Liu Ryan stepped forward on her own. Ignoring whether Zhang Yuan wanted it or not, she grabbed his arm and tried to lead him out. Only then did Shuhua seem to wake from a dream. He grabbed Liu Ryan by the arm. "I will go with you." But his eyes swept toward President Wen at the side. Liu Ryan hesitated for a moment. She did not refuse. Pain throbbed through the back of Zhang Yuan's head. Yet at that moment, Zhang Yuan wanted badly to laugh. Laugh at how years of love had, overnight, become nothing but a joke in other people's mouths. Laugh at Liu Ryan wearing the skin of a devoted lover, while doing things utterly inhuman, disgusting, sickening to the core. Before Zhang Yuan fainted, he was only grateful that he blacked out. Otherwise, he really would have vomited the next second. Zhang Yuan was not unconscious for long. He woke while the nurse was setting up his four. Liu Ryan was waiting at his side, her eyes bloodshot. She held his hand tightly. "Husband, you are awake. Do you feel unwell anywhere?" Before she finished speaking, Zhang Yuan's stomach churned violently. His whole body convulsed with it. The nurse beside him gasped when she saw it. "Quick! Get a trash can under him. The patient has a moderate concussion. He is definitely going to vomit." In that urgent moment, somehow, the trash can was nowhere to be found. Liu Ryan fumbled in panic. In the end, she actually pressed her palms together in prayer, holding them reverently at Zhang Yuan's mouth. "Yuan, let it out. Throw up into my hands." Zhang Yuan swept her hands away. He vomited onto the floor. He had barely eaten at the table earlier, so all that came up now was sour bile. It pooled across the tile in uneven ridges, yet each ridge looked like a thorn, stabbing Liu Ryan's heart with pain. She hurriedly pulled out tissues to wipe his mouth. Zhang Yuan still pushed her away. Rejection after rejection made Liu Ryan feel as if even breathing hurt. "Husband, I am begging you. Do not push me away. Do not push Nyan away. Her voice broke into pieces. Jiang Yuan felt as if a burning coal were lodged in his throat. Watching that trembling hand reach toward him again. Before he even realized it, tears fell hard from his eyes. Yuan, let us get divorced. They spoke at the same time. Jiang Yuan gripped the edge of the bed and slowly pushed himself up. He looked at the woman frozen before him. She looked as if she had been struck over the head. Her face had gone frighteningly pale. After a long silence, she finally came back to herself. Husband, that is not what I meant. I only saw President when bullying Assistant Pei. That was why I lost my temper. Husband, if you are angry, I will have HR fire Assistant Pei right now. In a panic, she pulled out her phone to call HR. But just then, a message from President Wang came in. Before she could do anything, it lit up the screen. Liu Ryan's body stiffened. Her movement froze right there. Jiang Yuan spoke softly. Aren't you going to open it? It is nothing important. She tried to slip the phone back into her pocket. Jiang Yuan reached out and blocked her. Then, with a light tug, the phone fell into his palm. I will check it for you. Under Liu Ryan's desperate gaze, Jiang Yuan entered the password. He opened President Wang's chat window. A suffocating weight rushed at him. Jiang Yuan's expression stayed unchanged. As he scrolled through the screen, he read the chat records aloud. Want to know what lingerie President Liu is wearing? Black lace. Liu Ryan snatched the phone back. Stop reading. The fury in her voice made Jiang Yuan jolt. Then he could not help laughing. His laugh was not loud. It was thin and faint, like a wisp of smoke. Yet it was like a thread, wrapping around Liu Ryan's heart until it hurt fiercely. She said, Husband, I did not. Liu Ryan, let us get divorced. Liu Ryan's eyes suddenly turned blood red. She stared fixedly at Jiang Yuan. Husband, are you thirsty? Her voice was trembling. I will get you some hot water. Jiang Yuan, no need. Even if you get it, I will not drink it. He paused. Then he said solemnly, Liu Ryan, let us talk about the divorce. Liu Ryan clearly heard him. Her body visibly shook. Yet she still left the ward. Her retreating figure looked like she was fleeing in panic. Jiang Yuan waited in the ward for half an hour. Only then was he sure Liu Ryan had truly run away. So she really was this cowardly. Jiang Yuan could not stop mocking her in his heart. After resting for the night, he went alone to ask the doctor for discharge papers. The doctor did not approve of Jiang Yuan leaving the hospital at this time, but he could not override the patient's wishes. In the end, he only prescribed some medicine and warned him that if dizziness or nausea appeared again, he had to return to the hospital for another CT scan. Jiang Yuan agreed. At the same time, he opened his phone and booked the nearest high-speed rail ticket. By the time he reached Land City, it was nearly dusk. Jiang Yuan had planned to go home first and pack up the rest of his things, so the divorce could move forward as soon as possible. But when he arrived home, the house was brightly lit. By the window stood a half-person high arecopalm. Its sparse, broad leaves cast a sheet of shadow. Liu Ryan was tucked there within it. Her expression was completely hidden. Jiang Yuan saw her, but acted as if he had not. He went upstairs on his own to pack his luggage. But just as he stepped onto the stairs, Liu Ryan suddenly asked, Husband, why is the house so empty? Jiang Yuan's tone was ordinary. During the 7 days you spent in bed with Pei Shuhua, I moved out everything belonging to me and Manman. He kept walking as he spoke. The instant he reached the second floor, Liu Ryan grabbed his hand. Do not touch me. Jiang Yuan shook her off. He turned and strode quickly toward the bedroom. His waist suddenly tightened. Liu Ryan had wrapped her arms tightly around him. Let go of me. Jiang Yuan frowned, but Liu Ryan clung even tighter. I told you to let go of me. Jiang Yuan had thought that since learning of Liu Ryan's affair, a full month had already passed. He thought he could stay calm and handle their affairs with dignity. But when the moment truly came, rage still burned through his heart. Driven purely by instinct, he cursed whatever came to mind. Liu Ryan, why are you stopping me? Let me leave. I will clear out and make room for you too. When you were doing it with him, why did you answer Manman's call? Was it because she is still little? Because she would not understand? Or did it make it more thrilling? Liu Ryan, say something. Talk. Why did you hurt my daughter like that? You disgust me. Liu Ryan's heart ached beyond words. No, Yuan, do not divorce me. Please, do not divorce me. I was wrong. I will never do it again. I have already had HR fire him. I will never see him again. Yuan, forgive me. Just this once. Jiang Yuan said each word clearly. I do not believe you. Liu Ruyan seemed to catch the scent of hope. Her expression turned almost frantic. Let us do a property notarization. The houses, the cars, the company shares. I will give you all the money. After deciding on divorce, when it came to dividing the assets, Jiang Yuan had once planned to do it quietly, silently taking back the share that belonged to him, then leaving with dignity. But plans never keep up with reality. Pei Shuhua was far too vile. Why should he let that bastard get what he wanted? He wanted him to get nothing at all. Jiang Yuan was no saint who repaid cruelty with kindness. On the contrary, he never let a slight go unanswered. Anyone who had hurt him would pay him back 100-fold, 1,000-fold. So in Liu Ruyan's eyes, Jiang City was nothing more than an accident. But the truth was that everything was the result of Jiang Yuan's deliberate guidance. He wanted Liu Ruyan to feel guilty. Guilt was a useful thing. A sense of debt makes the guilty party try to make amends. Jiang Yuan simply had not expected Liu Ruyan would be willing to walk away with nothing to keep him, to save their marriage. Too little, too late. Jiang Yuan mocked her inwardly. But on the surface, he half resisted and half yielded. He accepted, as if deeply reluctant, all the property under Liu Ruyan's name. All that remained was notarization. They first went to the notary office to file the application, but because the amount involved was so large, the notary staff advised them to have a lawyer handle it. Naturally, Jiang Yuan thought of Wannian, but after Wannian heard him out, she refused him. Jiang Yuan asked, why? Wannian said, do you really not know? Just as Wannian was torn over whether to confess the secret feeling she had once kept hidden, Liu Ruyan came charging over. Her eyes were bloodshot. The veins on her forehead bulged. She looked like a wife who had caught her husband cheating. Husband, why are you with her? Jiang Yuan ignored the ferocity on her face. He said flatly, she is my lawyer. Since you are here, we can discuss the notarization. Liu Ruyan gritted her teeth. Only your lawyer. Jiang Yuan said, what else would she be? He suddenly laughed. Do you think everyone is like you? One job, two uses. Most of Liu Ruyan's fury died at once. She faltered, then finally looked at Wannian with complicated eyes. Wannian stood up and politely held out her hand. Hello, Miss Zhou. I am President Jiang's lawyer. It was clearly an ordinary opening line. Yet Liu Ruyan heard a provocative double meaning in it. She gritted her teeth and shook her hand. Though we were not in the same class, we graduated in the same year. I am younger than you. So Yuan deserves to be called your brother-in-law. Liu Ruyan had always been intensely possessive. Back when they were dating, even a fly near Jiang Yuan could not be female. Back then, blinded by love, Jiang Yuan only found it sweet. Now that he was facing it again, he felt suffocated, trapped. All kinds of emotions surged over each other, but sweetness was not among them. He even began to question his former self. Had someone taken over his body? What had he been thinking to call that sweet? Jiang Yuan said coldly, business is business. Do not drag personal relationships into it. Unexpectedly, the moment he said that, Liu Ruyan bristled. Do you mean I should not bring up my relationship with her? Or that you do not want her to know about ours? During this period, out of guilt, Liu Ruyan had been playing the tireless, devoted homemaker. She gave Nanny Li time off and took over all of Manman's daily care herself. Instead of going to the company, she stayed home in the kitchen every day, studying all kinds of recipes. As soon as noon came, she delivered lunch to the company right on time. She was terrified Jiang Yuan might go even a little hungry. She had already gone this far. Was he still not satisfied? What exactly did he want her to do? Jiang Yuan felt she was picking a fight for no reason. Is there a difference? There is. Liu Ruyan glanced coldly at Wannian. Either change lawyers, or we will not do the property notarization. Jiang Yuan felt Liu Ruyan was doing this on purpose, only to stall for time. Once his anger faded, everything would still remain marital property. She would have cheated without losing a thing, and saved her own marriage too. Jiang Yuan's expression darkened. He was just about to speak, when Wannian spoke first from across from him. Fine, Yuan, you should find another lawyer. Who gave you permission to call him Yuan? Wannian ignored the furious Liu Ruyan beside her, and stared fixedly at Jiang Yuan. After all, I once liked you. That fact matters a great deal to Miss Zhou. Jiang Yuan was stunned at first, then found it absurd enough to laugh. That was more than 10 years ago. Is it really worth caring about? Liu Ruyan said. Who knows whether she still likes you now? Jiang Yuan shook his head with absolute certainty. Impossible. You already changed your heart. How could she possibly still like me? Ruyan was left speechless by his retort. But then she saw Wannian's eyes, almost glued to Jiang Yuan. Anger overwhelmed every bit of restraint she had. She grabbed Jiang Yuan's hand and dragged him outside. Miss Zhou, Wannian called out to her. Do you know why I gave up back then? Ruyan did not stop moving. Seeing that, Wannian raised her voice. Back then, it was not because I was less capable than you. I lost a genuine love. Miss Zhou. Back then, I saw your true heart. Miss Zhou. Is that true heart still there now? Ruyan seemed stung by a hornet. Her body shuddered violently. Then she pulled Jiang Yuan along and fled the cafe as if escaping. Jiang Yuan was dragged all the way home by her. He had not even taken off his shoes. When Ruyan's kiss came down on him, Jiang Yuan was no stranger to sex. When he and Ruyan loved each other most, they rented a place near the university and spent day and night in bed. The sofa, the carpet, anywhere they could do it. They tried it. During that time, they wanted nothing more than to take each other into their very bones and blood. Later, they married and had a child. The company grew larger. Jiang Yuan wanted to rekindle the passion they once had. Ruyan always used being busy or tired as an excuse. He was not some beast who lived on desire alone. So over time, he grew used to that quiet plainness. But today, after she had cheated, after their marriage existed in name only, after Ruyan saw him with another woman, talking and laughing so easily, she suddenly wanted him. Jiang Yuan knew clearly that this was only her possessiveness acting up. Ruyan was treating him like an object. She was humiliating him. Pain struck Jiang Yuan in the chest. Suddenly, he remembered their first time. Neither of them knew the other well. They were both fumbling forward like people in the dark, careful and hesitant. When they finally crossed that line, she cried and cried out from the pain. He kissed the corner of her eye and said with almost sacred devotion, Nyan Nyan, I will be good to you for the rest of my life. So it turned out. He had already lived that long. That lifetime had already passed. Jiang Yuan shut his eyes tightly and shoved her away. Do not touch me. This incident served as a wake-up call for Jiang Yuan. Everyone's guilt has a time limit. People make amends because they owe someone and try hard to rebalance a relationship. But when that balance cannot be restored, they abandon the promises they made before. Jiang Yuan knew he had to move faster. He went to human resources and pulled all of Pei Shua's records, identity information, bank account numbers, records of Ruyan's transfers to Pei Shuha, evidence that he and Ruyan shared their finances. He organized everything and handed it all to Wannian. When the court summons arrived, Pei Shuha saw that he was being ordered to repay Jiang Yuan more than 6.4 million. He exploded with rage. Like a madman, he ignored everyone trying to stop him and stormed into Jiang Yuan's office. Jiang Yuan sat angled behind his desk. The moment Pei Shuha slammed the door open, he lifted his eyes and let them rest briefly on him, then lowered his head and tapped on his phone. Just like the day they first met in Jiang City, the look shot his way, treated him like cheap, weightless dust. Not worth mentioning, not worth a second glance. Pei Shuha gritted his teeth. Jiang Yuan. Behind him, the assistant tried to drag him out, but Jiang Yuan said then, It is fine. Go back to your work for now. The assistant withdrew with apology in his eyes and closed the door behind him. Jiang Yuan got straight to the point. Are you here to repay the money? Pei Shuha sneered. Do not even dream of it. There is no way I am paying you back. Jiang Yuan, you only finished middle school, so I will not blame you for being legally clueless. I even have the patience to explain it to you. During a valid marriage, if the cheating spouse uses marital property to buy gifts for the affair partner, the other spouse has the right to demand repayment. Pei Shuha's face twisted, but in the next second, he seemed to think of something and laughed. He planted both hands on the desk and looked at Jiang Yuan. What do you think Ruyan was thinking? Letting you sit in this office? Do you know how many times she and I fucked in this office? The very spot you are sitting in now. She and I did it there countless times. She liked it best leaning over the desk, telling me to take her from behind. A mocking curve touched Jiang Yuan's mouth. So, are you going to perform it for me live? Pei Shuha froze. Clearly, he had not understood what Jiang Yuan meant. As soon as Pei Shuha appeared downstairs, Jiang Yuan had already texted Ruyan. By now, Ruyan should just about have arrived. Speak of the devil. Ruyan appeared in the doorway. She stared at Pei Shuha, her expression distorted. Get out. She stumbled toward Zhang Yuan. Husband, do not listen to him. That was all in the past. I do not know why he came here. I have cut him off completely. Liu Ruyan. Pei Shuhua roared behind her. After all this time. Toward me. Did you truly never feel even a little affection? Liu Ruyan's back went rigid. No. How can you not love me? How could you possibly not like me? When I had a fever, you stayed by my bed all night. You made soup for me. You took me to the street behind your university. Liu Ruyan looked as if she had been pricked by a needle. She glanced anxiously at Zhang Yuan and found his expression strangely calm. Panic and anger surged through her. She shouted, "Stop talking." She hurried to grab Zhang Yuan. Husband, but Zhang Yuan flung her off. With a thud, Liu Ruyan crashed into the cabinet. Husband, it hurts. Zhang Yuan turned his head in confusion. Then he saw Liu Ruyan collapse there, clutching her stomach tightly. Specks of blood stained the fabric between her pant legs. It was as if something had suddenly blocked his windpipe. Zhang Yuan struggled to breathe. Nian. Pei Shuhua cried out in shock. He ran over and lifted her into his arms. What is wrong? It hurts so much. My heart hurts too. Pei Shuhua kept soothing her. It will not hurt. I will take you to the hospital. Soon it will stop hurting. He carried Liu Ruyan and rushed out the door. Under the shocked eyes of the gossip-hungry onlookers, they vanished at the elevator. Everyone exchanged looks. They looked ready to set up a feast on the spot and gossip over it while they ate. A sudden gust of wind blew the blinds against the glass window. There was a sharp slap. It snapped everyone back to themselves. Only then did they come to their senses. The actual husband was still inside. Zhang Yuan stood by the window, his lips pressed into a tight line. His gaze swept over the crowd. What are you standing here for? Get back to work. Everyone scattered in panic at once. Zhang Yuan sank back into his seat. His gaze caught his reflection in the desk mirror. It was as if he had been burned. He quickly looked away. He had thought he was used to this by now. This heavy, endless pain. But seeing that scene today, Zhang Yuan still felt his chest stabbed suddenly by a needle. By the time Zhang Yuan finished handling everything, it was already 7 or 8 at night. During that time, an unknown number called. Zhang Yuan answered. Once he realized it was Pei Shuhua, he hung up. After that, Pei Shuhua called many more times. Zhang Yuan rejected every call. After realizing Zhang Yuan would not answer, Pei Shuhua sent a message instead. Nian is pregnant. Shifting lights and shadows flickered across the car interior. Zhang Yuan paused on that sentence and stared at it for a long time. At last, he opened the navigation app and entered the address of Liu Ruyan's hospital. When he arrived, Pei Shuhua was beside the hospital bed, peeling an orange for Liu Ruyan. When she saw Zhang Yuan come in, she looked a little panicked and a little guilty. She clearly wanted to sit up, but Zhang Yuan pressed her back down. Protecting the pregnancy matters most. Liu Ruyan's face went deathly pale. After a moment of silence, she said to Pei Shuhua, "Step outside for a moment." Pei Shuhua hesitated. Then he reached out and tucked the blanket around her. "Call me if you need anything." That expression, that gesture, anyone who did not know better would think he was Liu Ruyan's husband. Zhang Yuan only made one mocking remark, then chose the chair beside the bed and sat down. "Yuan, let us go for the notarization tomorrow." She did not say it outright, but after more than 10 years together, how could Zhang Yuan not understand what she left unsaid? He gave a quiet hum of agreement. Then, he picked up the orange and knife from the table and began peeling it bit by bit. Perhaps it was the wrong season. The orange was very sour. As the peel separated from the flesh, the juice that burst out made even his eyes sting. He handed her a segment. Liu Ruyan took it. Then she heard Zhang Yuan's calm voice. "Have the baby?" When Zhang Yuan said those words, Liu Ruyan had clearly been planning the same thing. But for some reason, when those words came from Zhang Yuan, she suddenly realized the words she had prepared sounded so ugly, so grating she could not bear them. Liu Ruyan's eyes reddened. "This is not our child. I will not have it." Zhang Yuan listened, then put a slice of orange into his mouth. The instant his teeth broke the flesh, the sourness hit him like a scream, wailing through his throat, his heart, and every organ in his body, crying out in agony. He swallowed with difficulty. Before he spoke, "Whether it is mine does not matter. What matters is that it is yours. Liu Ruyan, that is your child." "No, I do not want this child." Liu Ruyan's heart swelled with bitterness, aching painfully. "I only want a child with you." At that moment, Zhang Yuan thought for a long time. But in the end, he gave no advice. He only pressed the remaining sour orange into Liu Ryan's hand. Pregnancy is hard. Sour things can ease morning sickness a little. Liu Ryan felt as if she had been struck with a heavy blow. Years ago, when Liu Ryan was nearing the end of her pregnancy, she had suffered terribly. She kept vomiting nonstop. Yellow bile, bitter fluid, and eventually even blood came up. Back then, Zhang Yuan had insisted on taking Liu Ryan to terminate the pregnancy. He could not bear to see her suffer like that. Even though the child in her belly was his own flesh and blood, he still could not tolerate it. But now, he did not feel sorry for her at all. He did not even feel a trace of anger. Realizing that, boundless panic flooded Liu Ryan's heart. She grabbed Zhang Yuan's arm. "Husband, I will abort the pregnancy." Zhang Yuan said, "Liu Ryan, this is your business. You can decide for yourself. Do not tell me about it." He said it so calmly, as if he were talking about someone else's affairs. Did he not love her anymore? How could he stop loving her? Liu Ryan's heart felt cut to pieces. She had seen what Zhang Yuan looked like when he loved her, so she could not accept the way he looked when he no longer did. Liu Ryan suddenly hugged him tight, as if afraid he would turn into smoke and vanish the next second. "I will abort this child. I swear I will. Yuan, do not abandon me. I love you. Yuan." A flicker of disgust crossed Zhang Yuan's eyes, but he answered ambiguously, "Remember to come to the notary office tomorrow." They had many assets under their names. Fortunately, Zhang Yuan had already asked Wannian to prepare everything. So, when they handled the notarization at the notary office, the process moved quite quickly. Only at the moment of signing did Liu Ryan hesitate. "Yuan, I love you. Do you love me? Who doesn't know how to act?" Liu Ryan had put on quite a performance when she cheated. It was only fair for him to return the favor once. He asked, "Do you have to ask me that right now?" Liu Ryan said nothing, but she put down the pen in her hand. Seeing that, Zhang Yuan gave a cold snort. He pushed the notarization document straight back, stood, and walked out. Liu Ryan hurriedly grabbed his arm. "Yuan." With that pull, Liu Ryan saw his reddened eyes. Liu Ryan's heart skipped a beat. She felt pain, yet also an uncontrollable joy. She said softly, "Yuan, I only wanted to hear you say you love me." Zhang Yuan lowered his eyes and said, "Love, but you still have his child in your belly." "I have already made the appointment. It is next week. Next week, I will terminate the pregnancy." Liu Ryan said quickly again and again, "I am not trying to make this hard for you. I am just scared. I am afraid that once I sign, you will divorce me." That was exactly what he intended. He did not want to stay tangled up with them for another second. Liu Ryan throwing out those words now was nothing more than a test. Zhang Yuan felt sick inside. In the adult world, when something had clearly been decided long ago, people still insisted on putting on a show, as if that could cover up all the hurt and pain. But only to fail at the last moment. Zhang Yuan could not afford to fuss over details. He put on an act and wiped his eyes. "Then do not sign. If the child in your belly is born, you will still have money to spend on them." "Impossible. I would never. This money is all for you and Manman." Eager to prove herself, Liu Ryan pulled Zhang Yuan back to where they had been. She picked up the pen, hesitated for a moment, then swiftly signed her name. Seeing that, Zhang Yuan secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Carefully from the notary officer's hands, he took the notarization certificate. At that moment, he admitted he lost control of his expression. But anyone, in that moment, would hardly have done better than him. Money, power, status, and fame. Humanity's strongest aphrodisiac. Once touched, it could make anyone delirious with desire. Liu Ryan walked out of the notary office with him. "I booked a table at Bulgari. Let us go there for dinner tonight." Zhang Yuan answered perfunctorily. "We will see. There is still work at the company." Liu Ryan frowned, but before she could speak, her phone rang. It was Liu's mother calling. Zhang Yuan watched as, moments after she answered, her expression changed. Liu Ryan said, "Shuhua has gone to make trouble with Mom." Compared with Liu Ryan's grave expression, Zhang Yuan seemed very calm. Shuhua was a shrewd old hand. Yesterday, in the hospital corridor, Liu Ryan had spoken so loudly. Shuhua must have heard her. Naturally, he had to find himself a way out. Otherwise, after spending all that time and energy, he would still have to spit back out the more than 6 million he had swallowed. What a terrible loss that would be. Zhang Yuan sneered inwardly, but his face looked especially furious. "Liu Ryan, I have backed down again and again. And yet you let him take this matter all the way to my mother. Do you really not want to divorce me? Ruyan said in a panic. I do not know how he found Mom. I will go there right now. Yuan, please do not. As she spoke, she took out her car keys, ready to rush to Jiang's mother. However, just as she got into the car, Zhang Yuan received a call from Jiang's father. Jiang's mother had been angered into the hospital. Zhang Yuan seized the moment to strike back. He packed up the rest of his belongings and moved them to the apartment. Then he listed the villa on the resale market, his wife, and the house. He wanted neither. As for the child from the affair, whether it stayed or not made no difference to him. After all, they could not inherit his property. For the next half month or more, Ruyan came almost every day, forcing a pleasing smile and tending to Jiang's mother. Only, Zhang Yuan never expected Shuhua would show up holding Zhang Man's hand. Daddy. Zhang Yuan whipped his head around. Zhang Man stood in the doorway, her eyes red, her trembling lips letting out a suppressed sob. A world-shattering fury rose in him. Zhang Yuan lost every trace of his earlier calm. He tore Shuhua's hand away from Zhang Man's. Get away. Ruyan. Jiang's mother was furious too. You actually let him pick up my granddaughter? What kind of intention could you possibly have? Ruyan clearly had not expected this. She shook her head and explained. I did not know either. Zhang Yuan ignored her completely. He only checked Zhang Man from head to toe. How are you? Did he bully you? Zhang Man shook her head. Her shattered eyes held a timid caution. Daddy, does Mommy not want us anymore? Zhang Yuan's heart felt ready to burst. He had imagined so many scenarios, ways to help Zhang Man more calmly accept this truth. But he never imagined it would begin like this. Zhang Man looked up, choking back sobs. Her tears felt like beads on a string, dropping one after another. Daddy, Mommy has a little brother now, so she does not want Mammon and Daddy anymore. Zhang Yuan said. How could that be? Zhang Man said. But that uncle said. Mommy is pregnant with his child. He said I have a little brother now. Grandma told me that once Mommy has a little brother, she will not want me anymore. Hot blood surged into his face. Zhang Yuan trembled with rage. He wanted to kill Shuhua. To kill him right now. To kill them all. Zhang Yuan gritted his teeth and turned back. But in that instant, he saw Ruyan shielding Shuhua behind her. Just like back then, when she had stood in front of him. Women, they truly turn on someone in the blink of an eye. Zhang Yuan could not help letting out a soft laugh. Even though rage nearly burst through his chest, Zhang Yuan still fought to control himself. He protected Zhang Man behind him, then looked at Ruyan. Do you have nothing to say? Ruyan's lips trembled, but in the end, she only said, Yuan. Shuhua did not mean anything by it. Could one sentence, did not mean anything, really make this whole thing go away? How could she? He no longer cared if Ruyan hurt him. But why did she have to hurt Mammon? She had once loved Mammon so much. Had she forgotten? Back then, when he took her to terminate the pregnancy, she was the one crying, holding her belly and saying no. Yuan, I just feel a little unwell. But yesterday, Mammon kicked me. She kicked me. She was the first person to hold Mammon. She changed Mammon's first diaper. When Mammon had just been born, she cried no matter who held her. Only in Ruyan's arms would Mammon settle down. Back then, she had been so proud, saying, this is the bond between mother and daughter. I carried her for 9 months. She was already familiar with her mother's heartbeat. After Mammon grew a little older, the first hand she held was also Ruyan's. Zhang Yuan still remembered it now. The first time Mammon grasped Ruyan's finger, Ruyan was so excited her face turned red. She said to him happily, Yuan, look, quick. Our daughter grabbed my hand. She grabbed my hand. Her hand is so soft and tiny. My precious daughter. Hold Mommy's hand just like this. Mommy will hold your hand for a lifetime. Mommy will love you for a lifetime. A whole lifetime. Ruyan, you promised to love Mammon for a lifetime. Zhang Yuan was packed full of emotions. They clogged his throat until he could barely breathe. He could not say a word. In that moment, he was finally crushed. His face went ashen as he stepped back. Ruyan felt as if something were about to dig her heart out. She walked toward Zhang Yuan, but the moment she took a step, Zhang Yuan immediately said, do not come closer. His voice was clearly trembling, yet the look he gave Ruyan was utterly firm. Zhang Yuan covered Zhang Man's ears tightly and said softly, Ruyan, We are getting divorced. Good. Pei Shuhua spoke first. No. Liu Ruyan panicked. I do not want a divorce. Pei Shuhua grabbed her. You do not want a divorce? Then, what about me? What about the child? Are you really abandoning us? Liu Ruyan wavered. In that instant of hesitation, the hospital room door was pushed open. Liu's mother stormed in aggressively. Nyan, divorce him. I told you long ago. Do not spoil him so much. Now look what happened. He takes a mile when given an inch. He really thinks you cannot live without him. As she spoke, Liu's mother glanced at Jiang Yuan, a man who acts every day like Guyu's great hero, looking down his nose at me. What is there to be reluctant about? Her words made Jiang Yuan laugh. You finally said it. It must have been hard holding that in all these years. You think I contributed nothing to Guyu, and that it was all your daughter's work alone. Is that it? Liu's mother frowned. That is exactly it. What do you mean, I think? Jiang Yuan nodded. He spread his hands and said with perfect innocence, but what can we do? Guyu is mine now. As soon as those words fell, everyone jolted. Pei Shuhua spoke first. What do you mean? It is yours now. Jiang Yuan said. Exactly what it means. He looked at Liu Ruyan. When I told you just now that we are divorcing, I was not discussing it with you. I was informing you. Jiang Yuan took a deep breath. Liu Ruyan, we are getting divorced. Liu Ruyan's eyes instantly reddened. Yuan, do not tell me you do not want this. Jiang Yuan cut her off. I gave you many chances. This time, you hurt Manman. I will absolutely not back down. As he spoke, he picked up Jiang Man and walked out. Liu Ruyan reached out to grab him. Liu's mother's voice came from behind. Let him go. As if we are afraid of losing him. Leave room for mercy. That had always been Jiang Yuan's life motto. But, in this moment, Jiang Yuan suddenly no longer wanted to. Since the other side was already the shameless, then no one needed to stay dignified. Jiang Yuan turned back. With a wicked edge, he said, maybe I was not clear enough just now. Perhaps you did not quite understand. So let me explain it to you now. He paused and said, as early as half a month ago, Liu Ruyan had already completed property notarization with me. She gave me every asset under her name. So, Annie, it is not that I cannot live without you. It is your daughter, Liu Ruyan, who cannot live without me. He said it very slowly, slowly enough, that during that whole process, he clearly saw every face in the room twist out of shape. For a moment, Liu's mother could not speak. She froze for a long while, then finally looked at Liu Ruyan. Is what he said true? Liu Ruyan did not answer. She only nodded. Liu's mother's eyes rolled back. She wailed again and again. Mom. Liu Ruyan hurried to support her. Pei Shuhua, standing to the side, seemed deeply shaken. He looked at Liu Ruyan. You gave him all your assets? A fox may dress itself in fine clothes and pretend to be human all it likes. But, in the end, it is still a fox to the bone. It cannot hide the stench clinging to it. And now, his true colors finally showed. Naturally, Jiang Yuan was happy to add more fuel to the fire. He said to Pei Shuhua, remember to pay back my 6.4 million. Otherwise, I do not know whether I might take this matter straight to your family. You would not dare. Why would I not dare? Jiang Yuan smiled meaningfully. You are the one who does not dare, are you not? After saying that, he turned to leave. Pei Shuhua seemed to think of something. A violent shiver ran through him. Pei Shuhua immediately grabbed her. Do you not want the child in Liu Ruyan's belly gone? I will take her right now to abort it. Then the debt I owe you is wiped clean. And then you give me another 200,000. Liu Ruyan's eyes widened in shock. Pei Shuhua, what are you saying? Pei Shuhua ignored her completely. His burning eyes fixed on Jiang Yuan. Jiang Yuan pulled his hand free and said slowly, Pei Shuhua, you think far too highly of yourself. The child in Liu Ruyan's belly is not mine. If you don't want to have it, have it. If you do not, then do not. What does it have to do with me? After Jiang Yuan finished, he deliberately glanced at Liu Ruyan. Then, he let out a very soft, very faint sneer. Liu Ruyan stood frozen in place. A roar swept through her mind with devastating force. One thought rushed to her lips. She looked at Jiang Yuan and said angrily, all this time, you were pretending. See, that is human nature. Even when they are clearly the one at fault, they still push all the blame onto someone else. She always hid at the very back, quietly enjoying the benefits. She disgusted Jiang Yuan more than anyone else. Jiang Yuan said, did I force you to do any of this? Did I tell you to hurt Manman? Liu Ruyan looked at Jiang Man. The child was hiding behind Jiang Yuan, watching her timidly. Jiang Man had never looked at her that way before. Only then did Liu Ruyan finally feel that belated, carving pain in her heart. Manman, Mommy, Liu Ruyan, stop putting on this regret act in front of the child. Jiang Yuan's gaze was sharp. Wrong is wrong. Even if you apologize 100 times, the wound remains. How parents treat each other shapes a child's whole life. Jiang Yuan did not want Manman to see her parents fighting like this, so he left it there. He took Jiang Man by the hand and went home. They were silent the whole way. It lasted until they got home. As he helped Jiang Man change her shoes, Jiang Man suddenly asked, "Daddy, are you going to divorce Mommy?" Jiang Yuan's hands paused. He crouched down to meet Jiang Man's eyes. "Manman, even if Daddy and Mommy get divorced, we will still love you." But Jiang Man shook her head hard. Jiang Yuan thought she did not want them to divorce. He was about to speak, but then he heard Jiang Man say, "Mommy does not love me anymore." Before, she could never bear to let Manman cry. Children are the most innocent, but sometimes what they say hits the nail on the head. Liu Ruyan, look, everyone can see what is in your heart, yet you still talk to me about love. After that day, Jiang Yuan went to Wannian. They drafted the divorce petition and submitted it to the court. The next day, he saw Liu Ruyan waiting downstairs from the apartment. She seemed to have been there for a while. When she saw Jiang Yuan leading Manman upstairs, she hurried over. "Yuan." She bent down, wanting to rub Jiang Man's head, but the child dodged away. Liu Ruyan's face dimmed, but she quickly smiled again. "Manman is still mad at Mommy, huh? What are you doing here?" Jiang Yuan had Nanny Li take Manman upstairs. Liu Ruyan. "Manman, she." Jiang Yuan looked at her with complicated eyes. "After what just happened, you have to give the child some time." Liu Ruyan froze. Then she gave a lonely little smile. "So, Yuan, are you the same?" Jiang Yuan's expression turned cold at once. "If you came here to say this, then we have nothing to talk about." Liu Ruyan choked out. "Can we really not go back?" The wind blew over, stinging straight at his eyes. Jiang Yuan paused and said, "When you did those things, did you not think clearly about what the consequences would be? Now that things have reached this point, there is really nothing left to say." Jiang Yuan turned to leave. Liu Ruyan's voice came from behind him. "Then can I still see Manman in the future? As long as Manman wants to see you, I will not stop her." After Jiang Yuan said that, he went straight upstairs, perhaps encouraged by those words. From that day on, Liu Ruyan waited downstairs from the apartment every day. Sometimes she brought Jiang Man newly bought little toys. Other times she brought food she had made herself. Jiang Man kept resisting her, but after refusing, Jiang Man would always pretend to casually lean over the railing and secretly look down. Jiang Yuan noticed. He asked Manman why. Jiang Man fell silent at once. Then she bit her lip and said in a trembling voice, "Mommy was so mean to Daddy. If Manman accepts Mommy again, would Daddy feel hurt?" Jiang Yuan's eyes burned. He stroked the top of Jiang Man's head. "Daddy will not feel hurt, because Daddy knows that no matter what happens, Manman loves Daddy. And Daddy loves Manman. Daddy wants Manman to be happy. So as long as something can make Manman happy, or any choice that does, Daddy will support it." "Really?" Light shone in Jiang Man's eyes. "Then, Daddy, can Manman go to the amusement park with Mommy tomorrow?" Children are born with a natural attachment to their parents. No matter how deeply their parents hurt them, children still instinctively love them. So even though Liu Ruyan had truly hurt Jiang Man, for Jiang Man, after a few days to process it, she would still love this mother of hers. Jiang Yuan understood that deeply, and he knew better than anyone that parents' grievances should not be put on the child. He loved Manman more than anyone. He wanted more people to love her. Jiang Yuan nodded. "Of course you can. Then I will go downstairs and tell Mommy now." Jiang Man was so happy that she ran downstairs at once. From upstairs, Jiang Yuan saw Liu Ruyan holding Jiang Man and spinning her around. He leaned against the railing and unconsciously smiled too. Only then did he suddenly realize that this seemed to be the first time since discovering Liu Ruyan's affair that he had smiled from the heart. After Jiang Yuan spoke his heart in the hospital room that day, Shuhua finally let the mask slip. Liu's mother had dealt so much with wealthy wives, in circles of power and privilege, that she thought far too highly of herself. She even looked down on Jiang Yuan, let alone Shuhua with his dreadful family background. Besides, Liu Ruyan had given everything to Jiang Yuan. Circumstances were stronger than she was. No matter how resentful Liu's mother felt, she had to swallow it. So on one side, Ruyan tried every possible way to repair her relationship with Jiang Man. On the other, Liu's mother brought good food and drinks to Guyu every day. To see Jiang Yuan, every other word was Yuan, as if she were calling her own son. Gu Chen reminded her, "Do not go soft. That old hag is obviously after the money in your hands." Of course, Jiang Yuan knew exactly what Liu's mother was scheming in her heart, but he pretended not to mention it. He simply watched her performance in silence. Keep pretending. One day, she would get tired of the act. Sure enough, in less than 5 days, Liu's mother could not hold back anymore. While Jiang Yuan was picking peppercorns out of the dishes, she suddenly began wiping at her eyes in tears. "Yuan, I am the one who wronged you." Nian only lost her head for a moment. She was tricked by that bastard Pei. That was why. But in the end, we are family. Family does not hold grudges. You must not take it to heart. Jiang Yuan said, "I have not taken it to heart." Liu's mother said again, "That is good. Since you have not taken it to heart, then you and Nian's." Jiang Yuan set his chopsticks down with a sharp snap. On the table, "I have a meeting this afternoon. I need to get back to work." It was a blunt dismissal. Liu's mother's expression changed at once when she heard it, but the next second, she immediately smiled again. "Then go ahead and work, Yuan. Mom will head back first." "Yuan, what would you like to eat tomorrow?" "Tomorrow, I have an appointment with another company." "Then what about the day after tomorrow?" "I have an appointment then too." At that point, Liu's mother could no longer keep smiling. She took a deep breath. "I know you suffered some anger a while ago, but during this time, Nian and I have both humbled ourselves before you. We have practically thrown our dignity aside. Your anger should be gone by now, right?" She thought she was being tactful. In truth, she was one step from stamping ungrateful right onto Jiang Yuan's forehead. Jiang Yuan did not get angry. As for Liu's mother, he had seen through her long ago. So he said, "I told you before, you do not need to swallow your pride like this. I have also made it clear to Ruyan. Now that things have reached this point, we cannot keep forcing this marriage to limp along. Divorce is best." "Then why did you not ask for a divorce earlier, after tricking my daughter out of all her assets? Now, you suddenly want a divorce?" "I am telling you, absolutely not. No way. If you really do this, I will sue you. I will sue you for fraud." Liu's mother slapped the table with a crash like a landslide. The office door was not closed. The banging and her furious shouting blew the drowsiness out of everyone at once. One by one, they craned their necks and stared over. Yet Jiang Yuan remained calmly detached, as if it had nothing to do with him. Suit yourself. After these few days of going back and forth with her, Jiang Yuan was tired too. Since she had stopped pretending, Jiang Yuan could not be bothered to indulge her anymore. He called security upstairs to drag her out. He also told them not to let Liu's mother or her people in again. When word of this reached Shuhua, overwhelming despair crashed over him. He was born in the countryside. Poverty and ignorance were the foundation of that family. But luckily, he was a boy, so he did not end up like his sisters, dropping out of school early, slaving away at home, then growing up only to trade their bodies for a little bride price. Every time, he would see his father counting those bright red bills and telling him, "Son, you have to make something of yourself. Better yet, find yourself a city woman. One who does not ask for bride price would be best. You are the pillar of our family. You will definitely bring big money home for us." Shuhua believed this without question. Full of ambition, he came to the city, ready to earn big money just as his father had said, and become rich. But the truth was, forget big money. With only a middle school education, he could barely make a living. It was then that Shuhua finally faced the truth. He simply was not capable, but he could not accept it. He could not. Why did other people have everything from birth, while he had nothing? So, he willingly became a kept man. To raise his status, he drifted from one older woman to another. In the end, he met Ruyan, this wealthy, beautiful woman. Shuhua used every trick he had, before he finally, at a reception, ran into Ruyan after she had drunk too much. She had drunk a great deal that day, so drunk she had blacked out. Shuhua decided to go all the way once he had started. He took advantage of her directly. Then he deliberately staged it to look as if she had forced herself on him. When she questioned him the next day, he accused her with perfect self-righteousness. From then on, he latched onto Ruyan, and from it, He gained plenty of benefits, but that was all. Whenever he tried to take things a step further, Ruyan would harshly scold him and make him remember his place. Shuhua knew his own place better than anyone, but when a fake act goes on too long, some real feeling inevitably seeps in. Besides, Ruyan was so beautiful. At many moments, she was even excessively gentle with him. How could Shuhua not sink into that? How could he not fall for her? So he went to Jiang. Men understood men. How could any man bear the humiliation of being cheated on? But he never expected that Jiang was not some useless nobody. Was he not just a stay-at-home husband? How could he have such ruthless, decisive methods? Step by step, he drove Pei into a dead end. After tasting luxury, how could he go back to scraps? Shuhua could not accept it, and he was even more afraid. More than 6 million. He could not repay that in a lifetime. Worse still, to look rich, he had also taken out plenty of high-interest loans. Panicked and terrified, Shuhua went to Ruyan. But Ruyan only said she had already aborted the pregnancy and told him not to come looking for her again. Then she shook him off and hurried away. Shuhua froze where he stood. His expression shifted. In the end, as if driven by some strange impulse, he followed her. By following her, he saw a Jiang man held in Ruyan's arms, and Jiang beside them, his expression gentle. What kind of joke was this? Even a male escort in a nightclub got paid for selling smiles. Was he worth less than a male escort? He could not accept it. Shuhua's eyes went red. He rushed forward and launched into a furious tirade. Kindergarten had just let out. There were people everywhere. With that one shout from Shuhua, every hidden shame was dragged into the open. Jiang man was only 4. How could she handle a scene like that? She burst into tears at once. Jiang was so furious his chest ached. He slapped Shuhua across the face. He told him that if he wanted to make a scene, he should not do it in front of his child. But those words gave Shuhua an opening. He thought he had found Jiang's weak spot. From then on, he went to Jiang man's kindergarten gate every day to throw tantrums and make a scene. Shuhua thought Jiang was a scholar. He did not expect Jiang to be a warrior. Jiang made a call on the spot and hired a group of menacing, vicious-looking men. They went straight to Shuhua's family. Since he had started, he might as well go all the way. They smashed the Pei home to pieces. The Pei parents were ignorant and timid. They did not dare call the police at all. They only dared take their anger out on Shuhua. So what if he was their precious son? If he could not earn money, then he was worthless. That very night, Shuhua was beaten into the hospital. He had one kidney removed. When he woke up, he was in the hospital. His leg was in a cast. Only one hand could still move. He had not paid the bill. The nurse gave him a cold look. The moment she saw he was awake, she said bluntly, "Pay the hospital bill quickly. Otherwise, call your family this afternoon and have them take you home." It was practically leaving Shuhua no way out. With the only hand he could still move, Shuhua sent Jiang a message. "Are you satisfied now?" Jiang was in a meeting. When he saw the message, his expression did not change. He replied with one word, "Deserved." Then he blocked the number. Just as Jiang had almost put him out of his mind, Shuhua called. He said Jiang man was in his hands. Shuhua had kidnapped Jiang man. He demanded that the 6 million debt be wiped clean, and even wanted another 5 million on top. In that moment, Jiang's blood ran cold. He almost thought he had heard wrong. Mammon had clearly gone out with Ruyan at noon. Ruyan. The name stabbed through Jiang like a needle. He called her at once. Ruyan picked up immediately. "Yuan, where is our daughter?" Ruyan's voice was frantic. "I don't know. I'm still looking for her. She said she wanted cotton candy. I only turned around to buy it, and she was gone." Jiang took a deep breath. Holding back his anger, he asked, "About you taking the child out? Did Shuhua know?" Ruyan faltered. "Shuhua has been at my house this whole time. He said I was the reason he ended up like this. I tried to drive him away, but he wouldn't leave." Even now, she was still explaining herself. In her mind, was their daughter less important than what others thought of her? Jiang was furious and bitterly disappointed. Shuhua had kidnapped the child. Even the meek lash out when cornered. And Shuhua had never been a decent man to begin with. But in doing this, Shuhua had nerve, but no brains. For instance, he took her to a remote place, but forgot to avoid the cameras. He called Jiang and threatened him for money. Yet within a few sentences, Jiang had exposed who he was. Even so, Jiang did not dare take the slightest risk. He refused Liu Ryan's offer to come with him and went alone. The place was an abandoned factory. The moment he stepped inside, the smell of machine oil hit him in the face. All kinds of bearings were scattered across the floor, along with loose parts. In the very center, Jiang Man was bound hand and foot to a chair. "Daddy." Jiang Man had clearly been crying for a long time. Her voice was already hoarse. Hearing it made Zhang Yuan's heart twist in pain, but he still tried to steady his voice and comfort her. "Mammon, don't be afraid. Daddy is here. Where is the money?" Zhang Yuan turned to look at Pei Shuhua. The next second, he threw the bag at his feet. "Give Mammon back to me." Pei Shuhua was on high alert. "You didn't call the police," Zhang Yuan said. "For anything that can be solved with money, why would I call the police? You kidnapped my child. Would I dare gamble with my child's safety?" Pei Shuhua was half convinced. Frowning, he told him to open the bag. He wanted to see whether there was really money inside. "It's cash, but 5 million is too much cash. I converted it into euros for you. You're playing me." Zhang Yuan frowned. "After kidnapping my daughter, do you still plan to stay in the country?" That was true. Once he had the money, he could go abroad, start over under a new identity, and build a new life. Pei Shuhua pictured that future. His face brightened with excitement. It was at that moment that the special police burst through the windows. The violent crash scared Pei Shuhua out of his wits. He was a criminal in the moral sense, but not yet one in the eyes of the law. Of course, he was terrified. In blind panic, Pei Shuhua raised the sharp knife and aimed it at Jiang Man's neck. "Do not come any closer. Come closer, and I will kill her." "Zhang Yuan, did I not tell you not to call the police? Why did you still call them?" Zhang Yuan clearly had not expected this either. "I did not call the police." Of course, Zhang Yuan knew he should call the police in a crisis. But Pei Shuhua's situation could obviously be solved with money. Why would he risk Mammon's safety by calling the police? Cornered and desperate, Pei Shuhua did not believe him at all. He remembered a month ago, when he was still shopping lavishly in luxury stores, enjoying other people's flattery. Liu Ryan had grown gentler toward him day by day. He had been so close. Just a little. Only that little bit. In the blink of an eye, everything was gone. He was even buried in debt. Why? Why did this man get to have everything so easily, while he could chase it all his life and still get nothing? Zhang Yuan saw it in Pei Shuhua's eyes. A flash of ruthless resolve. His heart skipped a beat. His body moved before his mind, and he rushed forward. Zhang Yuan had once read in a science magazine an article about the limits of the human body. He could no longer remember the details. He only remembered one line: extreme conditions create the ability to overcome extremes. He did not know how he managed to reach Jiang Man in that single instant and take the knife for her. He only knew he could not let Mammon be hurt. Everyone is born with a price already marked. If you receive an unexpected gift, then you must pay the matching price, or even more. Pei Shuhua had latched onto Liu Ryan and lived through a dream as dazzling as summer flowers. But a dream is still a dream. Once you wake up, you have to face reality. Pei Shuhua was convicted of intentional injury. He was sentenced to 8 years in prison, and when Zhang Yuan woke up, today's had already passed. Jiang's father and mother had both rushed over. Seeing their two-aged faces, Zhang Yuan felt his throat tighten painfully. "Dad, Mom." Jiang's father nodded again and again. "You're awake. As long as you're awake, that's enough." Jiang's mother was crying. As she said, "Are you hungry? Do you want something to eat?" "Ma made your favorite century egg and lean pork congee." Zhang Yuan asked, "Where is Liu Ryan?" Now that things had reached this point, there was no way Jiang's parents did not know the truth. So, when they heard Zhang Yuan mention her, Jiang's father's face fell. "She's outside. I didn't let her in." Zhang Yuan said, "Let her in. I have something to say to her." Jiang's father immediately grew anxious. What is there left to say to her? Jiang's mother tugged at Jiang's father's sleeve. "Why are you interfering in the younger generation's affairs?" Jiang's mother looked at Zhang Yuan. "Wait here. Mom will call her in for you." Liu Ryan had clearly been waiting for a long time. She was still wearing the same clothes from days ago. She stood there awkwardly, gazing at Zhang Yuan with pleading eyes. "Are you feeling better?" Zhang Yuan did not answer that. He only asked, "Were you the one who called the police?" Liu Ryan froze. Zhang Yuan sighed. "Liu Ryan, I don't blame you. Calling the police was the normal thing to do. I was the one being irrational." There was clearly no resentment or blame in his words. Yet it made Liu Ryan's chest feel unbearably tight. She would rather he blamed her. At least that would prove she still had a place in his heart. She said nothing. After a long silence in the still room, Zhang Yuan's sigh sounded again. Liu Ruyan. Let's end this. This time, Liu Ruyan did not cling to him. She did not object either. She only said softly, all right. After the 1-month divorce cooling-off period passed, Zhang Yuan's injuries had mostly healed. He went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Liu Ruyan had been waiting there since early morning. She wore the dress from the day they got their marriage certificate. The dress was old, but beneath the deep blue sky, it still made people feel as if they were looking at an oil painting. Noticing his gaze lingering on the dress, Liu Ruyan smoothed it down. I suppose this brings things full circle. Zhang Yuan did not know what to say. He only said, let's go. The sunlight was dazzling. Liu Ruyan seemed to flinch as if burned. Her lips began to tremble. I remember when we came to get our marriage certificate. I told you, we would be happy together for the rest of our lives. Zhang Yuan nodded. I have thought about those words often lately. Tears welled in the woman's eyes across from him. Yet Zhang Yuan gave a soft laugh. And then I wondered, how could a lifetime be so short? When Liu Ruyan heard that, she froze for a moment, then covered her face, crouched down, and burst into sobs. Yuan, how could I? People are always like this. They only mourn the flower after it falls. Yet when it is in full bloom, they never know how to cherish it. Whatever she said after that, Zhang Yuan no longer listened. He only said, it is no big deal. Everything will pass. Liu Ruyan, you'll become part of the past too. Later, when Liu Ruyan thought back on Zhang Yuan's words, she felt deeply that he was a liar. She could not move on at all. For the rest of her life, she was doomed to circle through endless remorse.